And he's going to have to do it today without his back Travis Henry, who's out with a rib injury. So today, two young players. Joe Burns making his first NFL start, along with Ken Simonton getting his first NFL action, are going to be at running back. And more important than the running game from these guys, Drew Bledsoe needs them in the pass protection game. They're going to have to help to pick up the blitz to give him time. And Laurie Malloy said this week, he said, this is going to be a bounce-back game. What do we do? Do we bounce back from that Miami defeat and come back, or do we continue to flounder?
Philadelphia Eagles looking to bounce back. High hopes in the city of brotherly love following the Eagles' second consecutive trip to the NFC Championship game. But the Eagles, Brian, opened their season, opened their new stadium with 2 losses.
Yeah, and they were ugly losses, too. And the quarterback, Donovan McNabb, didn't play well. So during his bye week, he went out to the desert, got some sunshine, came back with a new hairstyle, a braided hairstyle. But he also said he came back refreshed with a smile on his face. And if McNabb's going to have success, he's going to have to be relaxed. Now, today, he's going to get help from the offensive line. He's got 3 Pro Bowlers up there, and they're angry. They want to run the ball, and they're going to get that chance to run it today with 3 running backs. So you're going to see it by committee today with Westbrook, Buckhalter, and Staley. And I think that the Eagles are going to have a chance to win this game today. 2 things have to change. The turnovers have to get cut down, and then on 3rd and 8+, they're 0 for 13. They got to get better in that department this afternoon.
Brian, time now for our Sprint virtual coach question. Should Maurice Clarett be allowed to play in the National Football League? You can vote using your PCS Vision phone from Sprint or by logging on to foxsports.com. Back in Orchard Park, 59 degrees and sunny. Chance of showers later on for the Eagles and the Bills. Andy Reid's Eagles 0-2. 4-0, however, following a bye week. They defeated Tampa Bay 20-10 following the bye last season. And Greg Williams in his 3rd season as Bills head coach, former defensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I got 7 former players on his staff and 3 former head coaches. So he's surrounded by a lot of guys that he listens to. Most new one, Dick LeBeau, former head coach of Cincinnati, a big advisor that he said he's really learned a lot from, especially in the zone blitz package.
Eagles have won the toss. Ryan Lindell gets things started. Kickoff taken at the 7 by Brian Westbrook. And Westbrook taken down just shy of the 30-yard line by Dominique Stevenson. 23-yard return. Donovan McNabb, no touchdown passes over the first 2 games. He's also the Eagles' top rusher with 109 yards on the ground. 3 Pro Bowlers last season. Trey Thomas gone to Hawaii twice. Eagles will rotate the backs. Thrash and Kingston, the wideouts. And the tight end is 3-time Pro Bowler Chad Lewis. Penalty markers on 1st and 10 from the 29 as the catch is made by Todd Kingston. And he takes it into Bills territory at the Buffalo 44. 27-yard pass play. Bill Carollo, our referee this afternoon. And it's against the Bills.
Teddy, that's the best pass I've seen Donovan McNabb throw since probably week 2 of the preseason. And it was down the field and right on the money. And they went right after their best corner, Nate Clements, right away. And Andy Reid has come back here and made a statement on the first play saying, we're going to be aggressive, and more importantly, I believe in my guy, McNabb.
That's McNabb's longest completion of the season, 27 yards. From the Buffalo 44, Bruce Staley gains 2 yards down to the Bills 42. London Fletcher in on the tackle, setting up 2nd down and 8. 650 pounds in the middle with Sam Adams and Pat Williams. A very fast group of linebackers. Spikes, the ex-Bengal, Posey with the Texans last season. 2 interceptions for Nate Clements last week. And, of course, Lawyer Malloy, the strong safety, coming over just prior to week 1 from New England.
I tell you, McNabb is having a hard time getting the play from Brad Childress, the offensive coordinator. Looked over there about 3 or 4 times to the sideline. And this is not what you want to see coming off a bye week where you have this type of confusion so early in the game.
With the play clock winding down, McNabb forced to call timeout just 56 seconds in.
Well, you know, the one thing that's been missing from McNabb in the first 2 losses, and everybody's looking at the mechanics and the inaccuracy, is the smile. The guy that has had so much fun being an MVP candidate in this league and taking his team to 2 championship games. And I asked him, I said, what happens first? Does the smile happen first and you're loose and happy, and then the good play results? Or do you have to have success early and then you get relaxed? And he said, I mean, I got to go out there today and I got to be me. And he said, and what that means is I've got to be smiling and having fun. It's a serious game, but I can't play tight. In the first 2 weeks, I thought he played really tight.
Here's McNabb on 2nd and 8. He takes off, has the first down and more. All the way down to the Bills' 17-yard line. 25 yards on the ground for McNabb.
Well, I mean, that's the other part of the package of Donovan McNabb right here, is his ability to step up. Like, he'll find the escape route here. He always steps up first, and then he looks to the right or to the left to escape. And what Buffalo is going to try to do today is not rush behind him so he can step up and miss the ends. Right there, you see at the bottom, Schobel here. Aaron Schobel right there is trying to keep him in that pocket. You're not going to contain that man, and he's not going to go down easy.
Play clock winding down. Down to 5. Westbrook, the lone back from the Bills' 17. McNabb in trouble. Gets away from Schobel. And now, still on his feet, and now goes down. Finished off by Jeff Posey. Schobel had 2 chances, but McNabb showing his escapability, and then Posey comes in for a loss of 6.
Okay, this has to be a breakdown of protection, because here's the end here. Trey Thomas blocks down, and there's nobody to block out. Now, somebody gave a bad call there for Trey Thomas to block down, and nobody to pick up that end. So we've seen a forced timeout already, Kenny, and we've seen a protection breakdown early here in the opening drive. And that's some of the things that has hurt this team in those first 2 losses.
11th time McNabb has been sacked in 2 games plus 1 series. On 2nd and 17, Carell Buckhalter, penalty marker. That's only the 2nd carry for Buckhalter this season, and he's the starter.
Yeah. Well, the running backs have only carried it 21 times in the first 2 games.
2nd Bills penalty during this opening drive as Buckhalter gained 9 down to the 16. Bill Carollo checking for the number.
94, defense, 5-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
Aaron Schobel, the guilty Bill.
Well, they're going to run right behind the Pro Bowl guard, Jermaine Mayberry, at right guard here, along with John Runyon. I talked to both those guys yesterday, and flat out, those guys are angry. See that? That's a great job by Mayberry, taking Sam Adams right out of the picture. And then Buckhalter, who just hasn't had a chance to do anything this year, only 2 touches of the ball before today, saw that hole open wide open.
Brian Westbrook, the lone back. 2nd and 12 from the Bills' 19. And it's flipped to James Thranch, the wide receiver, who carried the ball 18 times last season. And he gains 4 down to the Bills' 15, setting up 3rd down and long.
Well, we had a long talk with Greg Williams on Friday, the head coach of Buffalo, and he said Andy Reid is the master of deception. In fact, he went back 4 years under Andy Reid here, and he saw every reverse they run, which he said Crash had 18 of a year ago. And then he said all the deceptives and the fakes. He said, hey, they started the season in the year 2000 against Dallas with an onside kick. So they were... McNabb got himself involved there.
Tried to block Takeo Spikes.
Yeah.
Brian, you mentioned in the open, Eagles 0 for 13 this season in 3rd and 8 plus. This is a 3rd and 8. And McNabb fires. Looks to be close to the marker. L.J. Smith, his first NFL reception, second-round pick out of Rutgers.
McNabb here, good job of picking up the blitz of London Fletcher, but that ball is low. L.J. Smith has no chance to do anything with that ball after he catches it. They're going to measure this. If he gets that ball up in the midsection there, he's got a chance to turn around and run with that ball.
Saw the ball right on our first down line, and it is a first down. So on 3rd and 8, the Eagles finally convert.
Well, and McNabb here looks like a different guy, and he said that early success is going to be so important to today's game. He said he just needs to build on something here. To get something started, to finish a drive, and completing a 3rd and 8 can do that for him.
So the completion on 3rd and 8 sets up 1st and goal from just inside the 7. Off the fake to Thrash. Take it down to the 3-yard line as Posey made the stop.
Just looking down there at Trey Thomas, the left tackle, who they just ran behind. We saw him in the open just trying to fire up the troops. And this offensive line, they got a lot of pride. They've been together as long as any group in the league. But they haven't had any opportunity to run the football. And that's what the offensive line always wants to do first.
Bobby Williams is eligible. Number 66 has checked in.
I believe me, he's not going to be Warren Sapp out there. They're not throwing the ball to Bobby Williams.
Ritchie and Buckhalter are the backs. Here's Buckhalter into the end zone. Touchdown.
Well, that's the start that Andy Reid so confidently talked about in the meeting room yesterday with us. And he said, Donovan McNabb is a franchise quarterback. We're not taking him out of the game, and we're going to ride the horse. And he made that comparison. Made the comparison to Larry Bird, saying he's got to keep shooting, but that offensive line just won that battle in that drive.
Buckhalter's first touchdown of the season, missed all of last season with a torn ACL. David Akers for the point after. Eagles score on the opening drive after scoring only 1 touchdown in 27 possessions in their first 2 games.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 38.
Eagles drive 71 yards in 8 plays and lead 7-0.
Yeah, and you know, that looked like Donovan McNabb right there. I mean, you know, you got the run, you got the scramble, you got the first throw of the game to Pinkston, kind of broke the ice right away. He had that deer in the headlight look in the second half of that New England game. He looked like he was just staring into space, and the worst just got worse, and it just snowballed.
David Akers kicks off for the Eagles, taken at the 9 by Antonio Brown, the rookie out of West Virginia.
Watch out.
Taken down by the kicker, Akers. 40-yard return for Antonio Brown, who spent last year in the Canadian Football League, setting up terrific field position for Drew Bledsoe and the Bills. 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback Drew Bledsoe set team records last season for yards, attempts, and completions. Bledsoe and the Bills start from the Eagles' 49-yard line following the big return by Antonio Brown. Bledsoe getting the throw on first down, and down he goes back at the 41-yard line. Second sack of the season for Corey Simon.
And this is where the Eagles feel they can win. Against Mike Pasillo, who's making just a second-year player, Corey Simon comes right through him, one-on-one, and collapsed the pocket. And one thing that we know about Drew Bledsoe, he is a pure pocket quarterback. And the way to disturb him is to make him move. And if you collapse the pocket, it gives him the most amount of trouble.
Bledsoe sacked 4 times by the Dolphins on Sunday night. Only the 3rd Eagles sack this season. Second down and 18. And Bledsoe's pass good for a gain of just 5 to Eric Bolds, wrapped up immediately by Troy Vincent, setting up a 3rd down and long for the Buffalo Bills on their first offensive possession. A look at the men protecting Bledsoe. Reuben Brown has gone to the last 7 Pro Bowls. Joe Burns, second-year back out of Georgia Tech, making his first NFL start for the injured Travis Henry. 4 receivers set, 3rd and 13. Bills have to get to the Eagles' 39. And Bledsoe's pass incomplete. He was looking for the former Steeler and Jaguar, Bobby Shaw.
And that's the toughest situation for Drew Bledsoe. 3rd and long. He was in those situations against Miami last week, and the blitz came. I mean, here's Joe Burns now. He's getting his first shot at what the Eagles are capable of doing. They went to a 3-man line with 3 linebackers that time, and they brought all 3. Made Bledsoe rush that throw.
So the Bills go 3 and out. Brian Moorman punting to Brian Westbrook, taken at the 15-yard line. And Westbrook brings it back to the 26, 11-yard return, 37-yard punt. Sam Gash brought him down. 7-0 Eagles. We put the Eagles' first 2 games in perspective. Only 10 points over their first 2. Fewest points over their first 2 games since 1985. What will they do today?
Well, they got off to a good start. I mean, getting a touchdown. They only had 1 touchdown the first 27 series this year, so they broke that streak early.
They start from the 26. Cutting to the outside is Brian Westbrook. Good run on first down as he picks up a first. Gain of 11 before he was forced out. We check in for the first time with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Kenny, Gus Farrar in for the injured Dante Culpepper. 15-yard fade pattern to Randy Moss. Great individual effort. Bad back and all. David Boston, are you watching? And then take a look at the Rams. Great field position by their defense. They hand off to Lamar Gordon. He scores 4 carries, 22 yards. They're up by 7. Back to Kenny and the hardest-working analyst in the business, Brian Baldinger.
Randy Moss and Terrell Owens on the same field with only 1 football.
Here's Westbrook on first down. Out across the 40. Gain of 4. Pat Williams made the tackle, setting up 2nd down and 6.
But when you ask the Eagles who's their starting running back, they don't have an answer because there isn't. Each guy has a different skill. Westbrook is a guy they feel has the speed to get to the corner. We just saw that on the play before. Drew Staley's a guy that understands blitz pickup, and he's very good in the screen and passing game. And then Buckhalter is a guy right now that has the best burst, the most explosion out of all the backs.
And remember, Staley held out in camp, still getting back into football shape. McNabb dumping it off on 2nd and 6. It was tipped, and Buckhalter unable to come up with it.
And that's the reason why Buckhalter isn't the starting back and out there all the time, because he doesn't have the best set of hands. Staley's better, and Westbrook is better.
Ryan Denny got a piece of it.
Yeah, it came out looking like a knuckleball, but that ball got hit. And they haven't been good in the screen and short passing game, and Drew Staley has always been a big part of that.
3rd down and 6. 3 wide receivers. Westbrook in the backfield. Eagles have to get to the 47. McNabb lobbing it up, and the catch is made for a first down in Bills territory by James Thrash. Eagles needed 6. They gained 17.
You got to protect first to make this throw. And Brian Westbrook does a great job here of coming over and picking up Lawyer Malloy. That kept McNabb's backside clean, and then this is a touch throw. Dropped it right in the breadbasket of Thrash. And McNabb knows it. He knows he's on, and then he also gave Westbrook a nice little pat on the helmet for picking up that blitz. There's got to be a big trust factor between back and quarterback to be able to do that.
McNabb now 3 of 4, 51 yards from the Bills' 43. Buckhalter lost the football, and the Eagles recovered. John Welborn, left guard, on the recovery.
This team came in -7 in that turnover ratio, and only the last time that they had a -7 or greater turnover ratio in 2 games it was in 1999. You got to go back to Donovan McNabb's rookie year. This team has done a great job of taking care of the football, and they said trying to clear out what the big problems were in their 2 losses. He said that was the biggest problem, giving the ball away too easily.
Loss of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 12. McNabb to Westbrook. Penalty marker as Westbrook races down to the 41-yard line.
Will be offensive pass interference on the Eagles. Somebody pushed off downfield.
You don't step in front of me, okay? When you move, that's me.
Right now, they've thrown the ball 6 times and they pass it 8 times. You know, Andy Reid has that first 15-play chart. And it's clear that he came out wanting to run the ball after he loosened up with that first pass.
3-to-1 ratio, Brian, over the first 2 games. 3 passes for every run.
Yeah, and you know, you're not going to win in this league. I mean, everybody's talking about in the pregame shows today, the running backs, Priest Holmes and Jamal Lewis, the guys that are racking up the yards in this league, and those teams also happen to be winning.
It will be 2nd down and 22. The Eagles have to get to the Bills' 33 for a first down. The Eagles scored on their opening possession. They drove 71 yards.
Comes Malloy.
Westbrook cuts to the outside and takes it to midfield, gain of 5. So it will be 3rd down and 17. Late flag. Late flag thrown along the far sideline.
Malloy came out like a shot coming off the corner. They ran right by him. Well, what an attitude he's brought to this football team. Watch Malloy coming off this corner here. Nice cut block that time by Chad Lewis just to get him down on the ground.
Malloy involved with Hank Fraley.
Well, Fraley's going to be chipping you at the end of plays.
Play was over. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that's hard to believe that they called that a Malloy because he held off. He wanted to go after Fraley, and it looked like he pulled off him.
What a break for the Eagles. It would have been 3rd down and 17.
Well, watch the play here. I mean, here's Malloy. He comes after him and kind of just holds up. And he points at him. And it was clear that Fraley went after his legs late on that play, and that's why Malloy stood up to him.
So instead of 3rd and 17, Eagles get an automatic first down at the Bills' 35. 3 wide receivers, and a give to Westbrook. Not much there. Gains 2. London Fletcher in on the tackle for the Bills.
2nd down, 80.
Here's the last play. You see Hank Fraley coming in to the right. There he is, right here, coming after Malloy. Didn't really get a big piece of him. Didn't get any of it. Just kind of a big piece of blubber kind of rolling on the ground right there. But you know, Fraley's one of those guys that said he was ticked off that he wants to run the ball, and they've come out with an attitude here early in this first quarter.
L.J. Smith shifting, 2nd and 8. McNabb pump fake, and again the Bills get a piece of it. For the 2nd time, it's Ryan Denny. As we check in once again with Jamie.
Hey, Kenny, take a look at the safety shading up to the top of your screen toward Randy Moss. Once Ontario Smith breaks the line of scrimmage, clear sailing, 5 yards to pay dirt. Hey, it's the Vikings on top 14-0 still in the first. Back to Kenny and Brian.
Yeah, JB, one of those teams that won their last 3 last year and their first 3, a 6-game winning streak for the Vikings. And at home, they've always been tough, getting off to a fast start.
Doing it without Dante Culpepper. Remember, the Eagles were successful on their first 3rd and 8. And McNabb's pass.
That should be a force out. That should be good.
Caught by Pinkston.
Yes.
And that is not reviewable.
No, it isn't. And the force out is this. If Todd Pinkston could have come down with the ball inbounds when he caught it and was pushed out, they call that a complete. Working on Kevin Thomas to see he gets pushed there. That's a force out. And you're right, Kenny. You cannot review that play. That's a first down for the Eagles, and that's the second time on 3rd and 8+ today they've gotten a first down.
2 for 2 in that situation after 0 for 13 in their losses to Tampa Bay and New England at home.
And he also threw that ball high, and the one thing Kingston can do is
the fans want them to challenge, but they can't.
They can't challenge that. And Greg Williams, who knows the rules, he told us all about them the other day, knows not to challenge.
From the 22, McNabb on first down, can't find anyone. Tucks it in. And is tackled after a short gain by Takeo Spikes.
Now, one of the things you have to do with McNabb when he's on is you have to spot him. You got to have somebody that has the speed to be able to catch him. So one of these two guys right here is just looking. Looks like Takeo Spikes right here has got him if he comes out, number 51. See, Nate Clements comes up and Spikes ends up making the tackle. Both those middle linebackers are capable of running stride for stride with McNabb. Not many linebackers can do that.
McNabb picked up 2, setting up second down and 8. Westbrook has become the feature back so far in his first half. And Westbrook takes it out of bounds at the 16, pushed out by Lawyer Malloy.
Gain of 4, 3rd down and 4.
So the Eagles now facing 3rd down and 3.
You know, as Andy gets ready to call another play, the guys that you want to watch here as they're running this ball are the 2 tackles, John Runyon and Trey Thomas, because they outweigh the ends they're playing against, Ryan Denny and Aaron Schobel, by 50 pounds apiece, sometimes 70 pounds. And so they feel like they can bend those guys in half. And right now, that's how they're getting to the edge. The tackles are winning at the point.
Ryan, the Eagles perfect on 3rd down, 3 for 3. Kingston make it 4 for 4 on 3rd down in quarter number 1.
You know, you look at McNabb right now, and everybody in Philadelphia for the last 2 weeks, and that's part of the problem when you lose and you stink the place up before you bye week. You get 2 weeks of criticism and 2 weeks of people telling you what's wrong. And everybody was looking at his feet and his mechanics, but he said that to him, it's all about confidence. And when he gets in a groove and he feels the game the way he is right now, that he's as good as there is. And he said he hasn't wavered in his confidence. He's tuned out everybody in the media, and he said he's just going to come out and play today.
Does that include you?
Yeah, he had to tune me out because I was one of those guys that was on him.
Eagles keep it on the ground on first down. Gain of 3 for Buckhalter. Aaron Schobel the tackle.
You know, you look at this defense, and, you know, they brought in a lot of new parts this year. You know, they brought in Sam Adams and Takeo Spikes and Lawyer Malloy. That's the center of your defense. And last week, Ricky Williams pounded the middle of that defense 42 times for over 150 yards, and they wore down. They wore down in the second half. That's what a running game can do to the Pro Bowlers like Lawyer Malloy and Sam Adams, guys that can stop the run. If you keep pounding it.
This the 14th play of the drive for the Eagles. McNabb uses his second timeout, but there was movement perhaps prior to McNabb calling timeout.
All right, get the timeout first, Ben.
Bill's not happy about it.
Fox NFL Sundays, brought to you by your Lexus dealer and the new 2004 LS, the ultimate expression of their passionate pursuit. By Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you, nothing's better, Dr. Pepper. By Snickers, hungry? Grab a Snickers. And by Sprint, proudly offering picture mail and PCS Vision picture phones.
Now here's what Andy Reid thought about Donovan McNabb calling that last timeout. Pretty smart play. You know, because it looked like Chad Lewis was going to be offsides. That's what the Bills were arguing. But it looks like that McNabb got that timeout before the offsides. Dominated this game here, controlled the ball. That's what teams have been doing to the Eagles. And that's what the Dolphins last week did to Buffalo. Couldn't get the offense on the field.
Eagles had an 8-play touchdown drive earlier. This the 14th play of this drive. 2nd and 7. McNabb under pressure, and Schobel takes him down. Second Bill sack. Aaron Schobel has led the Bills in sacks the last 2 seasons. Loss of 7 on this play.
Look, Eddie, was there coverage here? I mean, how good was it? You see Todd Pinkston running in there, and he's doubled. That's a bracket right there. And then you see James Thrash here. And Nate Clemens has him all the way, and then the tight end, Chad Lewis. I mean, there was 3 options right there, and there was no place for McNabb to go that time. And there's been times this year where receivers have been open to McNabb, hasn't seen them. That time, everybody was covered.
Eagles are 4 for 4 on 3rd down. Shovel pass to Staley. Tripped up. Gets down to the 8-yard line. London Fletcher made the tackle. Staley gained 7. And with time winding down in this first quarter, the Eagles send out the field goal unit.
Well, that's the master deception right there, that shovel pass. And he has all the tricks. And that's really a safe play, because if it's batted down or it comes out of his hands funny or bounces off the pad, it's just an incomplete pass. You still kick the field goal.
26-yard attempt. Akers' only field goal this season. He hit from 57 against New England. Corey Detmer the holder. Akers' kick is good. So a 16-play drive. Eagles chewing up time. They lead by 10. Eagles score on each of their first 2 possessions. An 8-play drive leading to a touchdown, and a 16-play drive, Brian, which chewed up 8 minutes, 36 seconds. Eagles averaged just under 23 minutes in time of possession their first 2 games. Second from the bottom in the NFL.
Well, you know what the most important thing after the first 2 drives for the Eagles, for the fans, for the whole organization of the Eagles is the play of McNabb. I mean, he's come out, and he doesn't look like the guy that struggled in the first 2 weeks. And really, he needed to send a message to the whole team that he was going to be back and he's capable of playing great football.
Remember, Antonio Brown brought one back 40 yards earlier. And this time tackled at the 33-yard line. 21-yard return with 3 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Lito Shepard made the tackle.
I talked to Drew Bledsoe, on Friday. Spent a long time with him. He's very calm and relaxed, and they didn't have the ball last week, especially in the second half. They threw 2 interceptions in the end zone a week ago. They say they left a lot of points on the board, and then they played keep away. Ricky Williams running the ball. Bledsoe never had a chance to really work any magic, and as a result, he had less than 100 yards passing.
They haven't had the ball today.
Same things happen.
They've run only 3 plays in the first quarter. Off the play fake. Bledsoe complete. Eric Moulds for a first down out to the 47-yard line. Penalty flag as time has run out here in quarter number 1. It's against the Bills. Buffalo gained 1 yard in the first quarter last week. Today, -3. Beginning Tuesday, baseball's postseason begins on Fox as the Cubs try to win their first playoff series in 95 years. When they take on a Braves team trying to avoid another playoff disappointment in Game 1 of the NLDS. Then on Thursday, it's Game 2 of the American League Division Series between the Yankees and the Twins. The road to the World Series begins Tuesday and Thursday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to Clemens yesterday, winning his last regular season game. 310th win for the Rockets.
Bill Burns getting 2. Joe Torre sent him out for the 7th inning and then went out so that Roger Clemens would be able to enjoy the one final regular season standing ovation when he was removed.
Cubs yesterday, a doubleheader out at Wrigley. Standing ovation. I mean, the Cubs, how long has it been since they've been out there, Kenny?
Haven't won a playoff series in 95 years. Second down and 18. Shaw comes in motion. Bledsoe with time, complete to Shaw. And he's taken down at the 34-yard line by Sheldon Brown. Gain of 9, setting up 3rd down and 9. Bills have run only 6 plays we've not been able to introduce you to the Eagles defense. Darren Walker moving from tackle to end, replacing the injured Brandon Whiting. Wayne, Semino, and Emmons, the linebackers. Injuries in the secondary. So Clinton Hart replaces Brian Dawkins at free safety. Lito Shepherd replacing Bobby Taylor at right corner. 3rd down and 9. 3 wide receivers set. Bills have to get to the 43 for a first down. Bledsoe was under pressure, gets it away to Moulds, tiptoes down the sidelines, and picks up the first down. Terrific second effort by Eric Moulds, who also becomes the #2 all-time receiver in Bills team history. Jumping over Thurman Thomas, trailing only Andre Reed.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see how they get Eric Moulds on track today, whether Bledsoe is going to have time to get the ball to him. Must have been an injury in the Eagles secondary. Troy Vincent, not out there on the field, was bothered by a hamstring all week in practice. He's out, so Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown are covering the wide receivers right now.
From the 44-yard line, Joe Burns out across midfield. They're told it's a hamstring, and Vincent's return is questionable.
Well, I talked to Troy yesterday, and I asked him about the hamstring. He said that it was just fatigue during practice. But they're asking Troy Vincent to do a lot this year. They're asking him to blitz a lot more man-to-man coverage all over the field against Keyshawn that first Monday night, and it's not holding up. So now they're really going to be tested.
2nd and 5. Burns trying to cut it back inside. Loses a yard as we check in with JB once again.
Kenny and Brian, take a look at how the Rams capped off a 12-play, 80-yard drive. Mark Bulger dropping back, stepping up. Dane Looker comes back wide open. 6-yard strike, 14-0 Rams. That in the second. Let's take it back to Kenny Albert and the insightful Brian Baldinger.
All right, thanks, JB.
Dane Looker was the MVP of that NFL Europe League 2 years ago, and getting to be that number 3rd or 4th receiver for the Rams, playing pretty good football.
Shaw in motion, 3rd down and 5. Bills have to get to the 45. And they do. Nice catch, Josh Reed. Down at the Eagles' 41-yard line, a gain of 9 before he was brought down by his college nemesis, Lito Shepherd.
Yeah, well, they both played in the SEC. You know, Lito Shepherd played at Florida and Josh Reed at LSU. They played against each other twice. Andy Reid told Lito Shepherd, look, you played this guy before, tighten the coverage up and challenge him. And that's what he did, but that was a good read by Reed, and it was a great throw by Bledsoe.
So you have Andy Reid,
yeah, Josh Reed, you got Reeds out there. Yeah.
We talked about Andre Reed.
Andre Reed, yeah, is reading arithmetic.
From the 41, out of the backfield, Burns. And the former Georgia Tech star gains 8 down to the 33-yard line. You know, with Vincent out, Brian, he's in the locker room. Eagles sent 3 of their starters in the defensive secondary to the Pro Bowl last year. Right now, none of them are in the game.
Wiped out.
2 inactive, and Vincent in the locker room.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you know, that was a big strategy today, was to put Troy Vincent on Eric Moulds to try to slow him down. And right now, Sheldon Brown, who's getting his opportunity at the bottom here, has got Eric Moulds really one-on-one with a little safety help over the top. But here's Moulds at the bottom.
Bledsoe changing the play. 2nd down and 2. Joe Burns. Nothing there. Corey Simon. Good job by the Eagles front.
Well, that's where they really missed Travis Henry right there. I mean, a guy that had over 1,400 yards a year ago. Tried all week. In fact, Greg Williams told me down the field before the game that he had tears in his eyes when he told him that he just couldn't do it. The ribs were rubbing together. The pain was just shooting through his whole body. He really wanted to be out there, and so Joe Burns, making his first NFL start, is pretty good between the tackles, but he doesn't have the speed to get to the corner the way that man does.
Joe Burns carried the ball 5 times last year as a rookie. 3rd down and 2. Bledsoe over the top. And Reed lost the football. Yes, it is. Was it a catch or an incompletion? Michael Lewis bringing it back. Question is it ruled a completed pass? It is not. It is an incompletion. say the officials back at the 30-yard line. An incomplete pass. Reed never had possession, according to the officials.
Awfully slow to make this call, though. Well, his knee was down when the ball came out. That's, I think, what you're going to see.
The back judge, Bob Wagner, very emphatically signaling.
See, the knee's down
pass.
and then the ball came out. You know, it's one of those bang-bang plays, and I think they got the call right. That's almost a smile on Andy Reid's face.
I think.
Well, I mean, it's hard to tell these days. He did get a chance during the bye week to go out and visit his sons, and one playing football at his old junior college, Glendale Community College, went out to see Garrett play. Went to ASU, where his son Britt is a walk-on player.
Greg Williams' son plays for Princeton.
Yeah. Chip off the old blocks there. Well, here's the play to Shaw over the middle. Hit by Lito Shepherd. Boom. Knee down, ball out. Knee down, ball out. It wouldn't be a good challenge. I mean, this is just a good call.
And any completion or incompletion can be challenged.
Right there. I mean, see, the ball is still in there.
The result of the play is incomplete pass, 4th down.
Oh, you can't review that. And the result is that it's no review, and he's going to let Ryan Moorman go out there and attempt a 51-yard field goal.
Lindell's career long is 54. Spent the last 3 years with the Seahawks. It's a 51-yard attempt. Moorman the holder. And Lindell's kick is wide to the right. Bills frustrated. Eagles hoping to turn things around. They lead by 10. Back at Orchard Park, Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger. Terrific field position for the Eagles following the missed field goal. And Donovan McNabb off to a terrific start.
Yeah, he really has, and he looks like he's been refreshed. Maybe a little sun in the desert, and coming back with a smile on his face, it just relaxed him.
Lives in Arizona during the offseason. Went out there for a couple of days during the bye week. Carell Buckhalter out to the 44-yard line for a gain of 3. Sam Adams brought him down.
That's the first play to Todd Pinkston. Do that one beautifully. And then, of course, you know, his athletic ability's never been questioned. Tell you what, a guy that can run the way McNabb can, you're never going to see him with his feet in the ground like a Drew Bledsoe, because you can't take off and run if your feet are standing still. They've got to be moving to give yourself some inertia, a little movement.
There's McNabb on 2nd and 7. Swings it out to Deuce Staley. And Staley out to the 47-yard line for a gain of 3. Jeff Posey made the tackle for the Bills, setting up 3rd down and 4.
Donovan came in completing 45% of his passes, which is unacceptable in the NFL, but a sign of accuracy is what a receiver does after the catch, yards after the catch. And today, the Eagles have 1/3 of their receiving yards of what they've done after the catch. So right now, he's been accurate early.
Empty backfield. Eagles have to get to the Bills' 49.
Time.
Bills calling this timeout. Mid-second quarter, 10-0 Eagles.
You know, numbers do a lot of things in this league. The Eagles today 4 for 5 on 3rd down, but a function of making 3rd downs is what you do on 1st down. The Eagles today over 5 yards, a half of a first down on first down, so they've been in makeable third downs here today.
Right now a 3rd down and 4. Eagles shift into an empty backfield. Spreading the field wide. Pass complete to Staley. And Deuce gets into Bills territory and picks up the first down. Eagles now 5 for 6 on 3rd down plays.
Well, the Eagles run a lot of packages, and that time they started with 2 backs in the backfield, Westbrook and Deuce Staley, and then they widened them out to the outside, to the wide receiver position. And they got the matchups they wanted. The reason why Staley was able to make that catch and the run after the catch was he had a linebacker out there on him.
McNabb now 8 for 10. He's completed 5 in a row. Pump fakes. And now throwing downfield. And Freddie Mitchell, the intended receiver, with a diving attempt, but could not catch up to the ball.
And that's really where he has to improve, is when he does throw a deep ball, to put a little bit more air under it, not try to throw the missile so that Freddie Mitchell here just running a seam without a safety. You're asking London Fletcher, the middle linebacker, to stay with Fred Mitchell, and that's where he has to get a little bit better. We'll take a look at his feet here, or the feet set. Steps into it pretty good that time. They were fairly calm, and he knows that's the one he's got to get. That's the knockout punch.
On 2nd and 10. Westbrook out of bounds at the 47-yard line. No gain on the play. So a 3rd and 10, and Brian, so far today, in 3rd and 8 plus, the Eagles are 2 for 2.
Yeah, and that's where Buffalo really wants to be able to dictate. But right now, they haven't really been able to pressure McNabb unless protection is broken down. Or they just had a bad blocking scheme.
Thrash and Mitchell split wide to the left. Kingston to the right. Westbrook in the backfield. Movement. Penalty markers. Phil Carollo.
False start. 69. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
John Runyon, right tackle.
Yeah, Kenny, I saw something in practice with the Bills on Friday I've never seen. The Bills defense practices with blaring noise so that they have to be able to handle the noise in their own stadium, because they're making noise so the offense can't hear, so guys like John Runyon jump, but then they've got to get the signals out. So they're signaling to each other almost like it's the school of the deaf, with just hand signals through the noise, because you can't talk over this. But they actually practice it every Friday.
We went to practice and a concert broke out.
Yeah.
Pass complete to L.J. Smith, but he's brought down about 6 yards shy of the marker by Antoine Winfield. So the Eagles forced the punt for the first time.
And one of the things McNabb told us yesterday is he really was trying too hard, and he was trying to make a play every single down. That time, he threw a nice ball to the rookie, L.J. Smith, underneath coverage, got a few yards, but with the lead right now, there's no pressure to go down and have to make a big play.
Dirk Johnson punting from his own 45. Antoine Brown lets it go, and it rolls into the end zone for a touchback. 44-yard punt, only 24 net yards. Bills will start from their own 20. Coming up next, the second half of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Most of you will see the Cowboys take on the Jets as Bill Parcells faces another one of his former clubs. Some of you will watch the Lions and the Broncos.
Well, when Parcells went up there 2 weeks ago on that Monday night to beat the Giants, I think he earned all of his contract in that one game. To take that slop that played last year with Quincy Carter and go up and play like they did, that's what a great coach can do in a short period of time.
Can I quote you on that?
Well,
slop?
That's what it looked like last year.
I know you saw them about 9 or 10 times.
Too much.
Sam Gash with his second reception of the season, gain of 2. Hey, JB, would you ever refer to a team as slop?
Oh, absolutely not. But Kenny and Brian, appreciate this here. Farad hooking up with whom else? Randy Moss. Brian, look at this high jump here. Jump ball, he's the master at a 35-yard strike, and it's all Vikes. Terry Bradshaw still not quite convinced. He said week 10 maybe. 21-0 Minnesota. Back to Kenny and Brian.
That looked like Randy Moss's rookie year with Randall Cunningham, just throwing it up to the local area code and letting them come down with it.
2nd down and 8 for the Bills. Joe Burns.
Joe Burns from the
Gains
handoff.
4. Setting up 3rd down and 4.
A couple things happening here. You know, with Troy Vincent out, Sheldon Brown and Lito Shepherd, 2 young corners are out there covering Eric Moulds. And the fact that the Bills haven't been on the field a lot, 2 things have happened. Those corners haven't been tested much so far today. And then the second thing is the defensive line of the Eagles that have been decimated by injuries have been able to keep their starters out there most of the time. They've been fresh.
3 wide receivers set. Bledsoe out of the shotgun on 3rd and 4. Low snap. And Bledsoe over the middle. A high throw. The catch is made for a 1st down by Bobby Shaw. Gains 12 as the Bills move the chains.
Bobby Shaw has been a great addition because they weren't going to replace Peerless Price. I mean, Peerless Price won 4 games by himself last year. And Bobby Shaw is inside. He's in the slot right here. He's in the middle. He just finds the dead spot of the zone, but they're not going to replace Peerless Price. But what they can do is they can be very good in that slot position, and that's where Shaw really flourishes.
Peerless Price now an Atlanta Falcon from the 40. Bledsoe complete into Eagles territory. The tight end Mark Campbell down to the 43-yard line. And for the former Cleveland Brown, a gain of 18 yards.
See, Bledsoe is having to get to learn a whole new set of receivers. Mark Campbell taking over for Jay Remersma. Bobby Shaw in for Peerless Price. They've lost Larry Center. So Bledsoe now, you know, in his 11th year, remember when he was the first pick in the NFL draft in 1993, has thrown for a lot of completions. He's a flat-out brilliant pocket quarterback.
He has surpassed Boomer Esiason, now 10th on the all-time list. It's Campbell again. 2nd consecutive reception for Mark Campbell. And he gets down to the 36-yard line. Clinton Hart made the tackle.
They don't really have much of a running game. Joe Burns in there, not getting him a lot of yards, nothing big in the running game. So you're going to have to rely on Bledsoe's arm. If he gets a little bit of time, he's capable of carving you up because he's so accurate, and then he gets rid of the ball so quickly. And he likes the design of Kevin Gilbride's offense.
They were made for each other, those two.
They really are.
2nd down and 4. The pitch to Joe Burns. And he's taken out of bounds at the 35-yard line by Nate Wayne. So the Bills now looking at a 3rd down at about 2.5.
Well, you know, Kevin Gilbride has made many stops around the league. He's been to Jacksonville and Pittsburgh, and he was a head coach in San Diego. And he has always been a guy that designed plays for the deep passes. And then Bledsoe's a great deep ball thrower, and that's what they haven't been able to do so far today, is get the ball down the field.
We have hit the 2-minute warning as Bledsoe heads over for a chat with Gilbride. Bills trailing the Eagles by 10.
During the break, the veteran Sam Gash talking to Joe Burns, making his first NFL start. Watch what he does during every play. He gives him the hand signal of what the play's on. Making his first NFL start, he doesn't want to overload him. That's the snap count. That number 2 there is the snap count to Joe Burns so he doesn't lose track of it. Trying to think of all the other things that Kevin Gilbride there is overloading him with this week.
Always nice to have a 12-year veteran with you in the backfield.
Yeah, it is. See, Reuben Brown, he didn't have the snap count. He needs somebody to give him the count.
3rd down and 3. Bledsoe perfect on this drive. He's hit on all 4 pass attempts. Make it 5 for 5. Bobby Shaw fumbled, lost the football. Question is, was he down? It was then fumbled for a 2nd time. And Clinton Hart on the recovery.
Well, if this stands, it'll be the Eagles' first fumble recovery of the year.
Shaw fumbled. It was scooped up by Rod Hood, and then he fumbled.
Clinton Hart pulled the ball out. Michael Lewis pulled it out, and Clinton Hart picked it up.
Well, Rod Hood picked it up, and then Clinton Hart recovered his fumble.
Return to this point at the 48-yard line. It is illegal to advance the ball unless the fumbling player advances it himself. We'll bring it back to this spot. First down.
Michael Lewis just forced the Eagles' first fumble. I mean, this is the team that was -7 in the turnover battle coming into today. They said it's the #1 thing that they had to do, take care of the ball, and then start causing some turnover. Little careless there, Shaw, with that ball kind of away from him. There's the strip by Lewis.
Beautiful strip.
Yeah, just worked for it.
And then Rod Hood picked it up.
Yeah. A couple of free agents back there. Rod Hood, who made the team this year along with Clinton Hart.
A booth review. We're in the last 2 minutes of the first half, so the replay officials taking one more look at the play. Bill Carollo apparently looking at whether or not Bobby Shaw was down by contact before the ball was stripped by Michael Lewis.
He came out and during that break made a premature announcement saying that the runner was down by contact, but it's clearly not the case. This ball is out by Shaw.
I guess what he meant to say is we were going to look and see if Shaw was down by contact.
Yeah, you see that ball is out. Watch this now. The run by Rod Hood here. Watch Drew Bledsoe come in and lay the wood. Boom. I mean, Bledsoe dropped the shoulder and the knee on him and knocked that ball out.
So Bill Carollo buzzed by the replay booth because we are in the final 2 minutes of the half. A coach cannot challenge in the last 2 minutes of either half. And Carollo apparently trying to determine whether or not Shaw was down by contact before the ball was stripped. Brian and I both think he was not down and that the Eagles will take possession.
Well, both offenses are on the field, except for the biggest man on the field, Sam Adams, has just walked out there because he knows after watching the screen that this ball is, both offenses are on the field there. And I think it's pretty clear to the fans here in Ralph Wilson Stadium that this ball is going to go to the Eagles.
So one of the offensive groups will have to leave the field following Bill Carollo's announcement. Here comes Bill.
After reviewing the play, it's been determined that the receiver, number 81, fumbled the ball before his right knee hit the ground. Therefore, there's a fumble, a legal recovery by the defense, and advance to the 50-yard line. Philadelphia will take over 1st and 10 at the 50.
Good call.
Due to the fact his teammate cannot recover a fumble forward under 2 minutes.
So the Eagles take over following the Bills' turnover. Only the second takeaway by the Eagles. First time they forced a fumble this year.
This is why it's a 50. Here, you can't advance a fumble there in the final 2 minutes of the half. That's what Clinton Hart did right there. So where the ball got knocked out is where the Eagles start their possession here.
So the Eagles already leading 10-0. Remember, they have only one timeout. They have used 2. From midfield, McNabb steps up and takes off. Gains 7 yards down to the 43. Brought down by Pat Williams.
Yeah, they spied McNabb that time, and they got a good rush, and he still got out of all of it. London Fletcher had that responsibility. He ended up getting faked right out of his, you know what. Yeah, he had to pick it up there.
Officially 8 yards for McNabb. Empty backfield. 2nd and 2. And they keep it on the ground with Westbrook. But he loses 2 yards. Eagles use their final timeout as we check out what the Eagles have done on third down today.
Well, they've missed 2 third downs, but look at the yardage on the 2 misses. 14 and 15 yards. See, they've had them in fairly makeable positions. You know, you'd still like to have it a little bit less than 3rd and 8, but, you know, a team that came into today, there was an alarming stat, really. 0 for 13 on 3rd and 8 plus. You're never going to be a good offense. You're never going to score a lot of points when you're in those situations, then you can't convert those.
The Eagles now facing 3rd down and 5. Coming up, our Visa halftime report with JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. Scores and highlights from around the National Football League and our new and improved Fox Sports ticker. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
Pretty busy day in the studio, isn't it? John Lynch in there. Pretty active.
Simeon Rice. Monty Toomer. Patrick Surtain.
And Eric Moulds going at it last Sunday night down in Miami.
3rd down and 5. Eagles have used their final timeout. They have to get to the 40 for a first down. And they pick up the first. McNabb complete. Freddie Mitchell down to the Bills' 30-yard line. A gain of 15.
Oh, they're going to get the Bills.
Bills were not set.
No.
Was it Schobel?
But look at how happy the Eagles are. I mean, they feel like they just got one on them, which they did. Just hustle getting to the line of scrimmage. Getting 5 yards closer.
Offside. Defense. Number 94. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, watch the Eagles' reaction. I mean, this is a game of emotion. See Schobel just late getting back. Supposed to. Everybody's clapping. Fraley telling him to huddle up. Fraley's telling him to huddle up. Giving him the signal.
So now the line of scrimmage, the Bills 25. 43 seconds to go, first half. Terrific first half for Donovan McNabb and the Eagles offense. Complete to Freddie Mitchell. Down to the 16-yard line. Stayed in bounds. Clock continues to run.
Yeah.
Gain of 9 on the play.
This looks like an offense.
Clock stops now. 25 seconds. Down to 24. Eagles with no timeouts. Looking to capitalize following a Bills turnover.
Very good day for McNabb so far. Been accurate, taking care of the football. And you got a chance for more points here before the half runs out.
Pinkston split to the left. Mitchell and Thrash to the right. McNabb pump fakes. Now throws. Looking for Pinkston. Incomplete.
Pretty creative move by Pinkston. Looking inside where McNabb pumped him and then turning outside where McNabb just threw it a little bit outside of his reach, but a pretty good move. It looked like he was running the fade route, trying to get the corner to bite on the fade and then turned around. Something that obviously him and McNabb had worked on before in practice. You watch McNabb. Pinkston looks like he's running for the fade and then turns around. Trying to get Clemens to bite on the fade and then throw the out.
Remember, the Eagles wasted a play with the spike on first down. So it's now 3rd and 10. Pump fake. Throw. Incomplete this time, looking for Thrash. So with 13 seconds remaining in the half, Andy Reid sends out the field goal unit and David Akers.
Yeah, I tell you, McNabb had his mind made up, but I think Freddie Mitchell in the slot here had a pretty good opening in the end zone. See, they didn't cover Freddie. And that's an area that still has to get shored up in this offense, is locating the open guy.
34-yard attempt. Akers hit from 26 earlier. He is now 2 for 2 and is now tied with Paul McFadden. 91 field goals, most in Eagles history. 13-0. Back at Orchard Park, 9 seconds remaining, second quarter. Eagles capitalized with a field goal following the Bobby Shaw fumble and now lead 13-0.
And that was McNabb's first engineered scoring drive in the final 2 minutes of a half since week 3 of last year. I mean, over a year since he's been able to do that.
Antonio Brown brings it back down across the 25.
I tell you, there was some popping going on that kickoff return.
So the first 2-minute scoring drive in the final 2 minutes of the half for the game since week 3. And Keith Adams is the injured Eagle.
One of theirs, I think.
Former Dallas Cowboy, terrific special teams player.
The Eagles have a bunch of free agents that made the team this year. Guys that weren't drafted, 6 of them. Keith Adams was one of those guys that stuck from last year.
Talked about the guys in the defensive secondary. Rod Hood, Clinton Hart, not drafted.
As they attend to Keith Adams, he was running down the kickoff, breaking up that wedge. It's good to see the feet moving, but here's Keith Adams right here. He's taking on Sam Gash in that wedge, and the right knee gets caught underneath, but then when he's down on the ground, he gets hit right in the head. They've got a kind of a compound of injuries, and Keith Adams, the son of Julius Adams, one-time defensive lineman of the New England Patriots.
Spent 16 years with the Patriots. So the Eagles medical staff continues to work on backup linebacker and special team star Keith Adams.
Well, he was the starting middle linebacker for the Cowboys last year when Dat Wynn was injured. He started about 5 or 6 games for them. They struggled. And then when Dat Wynn came back, he was expendable, and the Eagles picked him up. And they loved his special teams play. Well, the defense has been on the field here for Buffalo. You see what they were last week against Miami, on the field for 40 minutes, almost 41 minutes. And then today, you know, almost 2/3 of the first half they've been on the field.
Eagles have run 36 plays, the Bills just 19. Eagles leading 13-0. A Carell Buckhalter 2-yard touchdown run and a pair of David Akers field goals from 26 and 34 yards out. Donovan McNabb, 11 of 17, 115 yards. Also is the Eagles' leading rusher once again, as was the case in each of the first 2 games, with 35 yards. This is a good sign.
Yeah, well, they're taking him right up the tunnel to the locker room there with 5 seconds to go. So
walking off under his own power.
Yeah, walking off and no stretcher, and you know, he looks like he's kind of shaking it off there.
One final play for the Bills, 5 seconds remaining. And Bledsoe will take a knee. Bills offense has gone 7 consecutive quarters without reaching the end zone. They've not scored a touchdown on offense since the 3rd quarter in Jacksonville. Eagles lead 13-0. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with JB, Terry, Howie, Jimmy, and the Visa halftime report after these messages. Halftime in Orchard Park. Philadelphia Eagles looking for their first win of the season. Eagles have a 13-0 halftime lead over the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and it's really been a dominant performance by the Eagles. They look like they're fresh off the bye week. Of course, Andy Reid coming in 4-0 after the bye week. It looks like a completely different team. And it really starts with Donovan McNabb from the very first play. I mean, that throw to Todd Pinkston, they came out, they gave him a shot, he made it, and he's been accurate all day. And then he's just been a great leader out there today, running the ball, controlling the tempo. The Eagles are getting a lot of their packages out there right now, a lot of personnel grouping, so they're doing what they want to do right now. They're dictating this game.
McNabb also had a 25-yard run during this opening drive. Eagles driving 71 yards and scoring the game's only touchdown.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the opening drive, and they got on the board, and they got rid of all that bad feeling they had built up from Tampa in New England. And then, you know, the defense has performed well. So, I mean, that's the one shot right there that he missed, and he knew it. He had Freddie Mitchell down the seam, maybe for 6 points, and he overshot that one. But the report card on McNabb today has been great. I mean, those yak yards, that YAC is yards after the catch. It really shows you how accurate he's been today, the 65%. He's been great on 3rd down, no turnovers. But really, for Buffalo to get back into this game today, there is no running game right now with Joe Burns. The guy that they have to unleash is Eric Moulds. He's got 2 catches for 15 yards right now against the depleted Eagles secondary. They've got to make that work for them in the second half.
David Akers will kick off to begin this second half. Akers with a pair of field goals, 26 and 34 yards to extend the Eagles' lead. Eagles scoring on 3 of their 4 possessions in the first half. Line drive kick, taken at the 1 by Antonio Brown. Looks to cut it back inside and is tackled at the 28-yard line by Sheldon Brown. 27 yards on the return. Drew Bledsoe in the first half, Brian, 10 of 12, 94 yards.
Yeah, it's good numbers, you know, and it looks good, but there's nothing big, nothing down the field. And last year, this was a big play offense. You know, they had Peerless Price. They had Eric Moulds. You couldn't double both of them. And they had a number of big plays. But this year, Drew calls it small ball. We don't have that speed on the other side of Moulds. And so they got to march in little increments right now, and they're not able to sustain it.
Bills start from their own 28-yard line. Penalty markers. Free play for Bledsoe, and throws it away looking for Eric Moulds.
Offsides against the Eagles here to start the third quarter.
Troy Vincent still out.
94. Defense. 5-yard penalty.
Vincent injuring his hamstring in the first half. So the Eagles' first 2 draft picks from 2002, Lito Shepard and Sheldon Brown, handling the corners.
Well, actually, their first 3 also. Michael Lewis is back there at safety right now. So the first 3 picks of a year ago, all out there on the field right now.
And the 3 Pro Bowlers are not on the field. Corey Simon with the tackle after the 2-yard pickup by Ken Simonton, his first carry in the NFL. You mentioned earlier, offensive MVP over at NFL Europe.
Yeah, and he played well over there in Scotland this year, a guy that has been overlooked because you overlook guys that are 5'8". I mean, you know, he's a little guy, but he set all kinds of records at Oregon State when he was in college. The only player in the history of the Pac-10 to rush for over 1,000 yards his first 3 years.
Simonton remains in the backfield on 2nd down and 3. And takes the handoff from Bledsoe. And looks to be about a yard shy of the marker. Joe Burns only 12 yards on 6 carries in the first half. Bills without 3 of their backs. Travis Henry, Sammy Morris, and Phil Crosby. So they're down to Burns and Simonton.
Yeah, and remember, when they drafted this year in the first round, they took Willis McGahee. And they said, what are we drafting McGahee for? We've got Travis Henry, he had 1,400 yards. They went out and picked up Orlandis Gary and then traded him to Detroit. And so all of a sudden, what looked like it was going to be a deep backfield is depleted right now.
Bledsoe rolling right on 3rd and 1 off the fingertips of Shaw. Bledsoe not happy.
Well, he's not, because now they have to get off the field. And they had the open man. They had what he wanted. They had the first down, and he was just off on that throw. You know, for an Eagles secondary that's depleted, those guys right now, they feel great because they did what they had to do. 3 plays and out, and put the offense back on the field.
Bills hand it off to Simonton twice, picks up 9 yards, and then off the fingertips of Shaw. Bills go 3 and out to start the second half. Brian Moorman punting from his own 25. Good hang time. Fielded out to 17. Fair catch called for by Brian Westbrook. 46-yard punt. Bledsoe and the Bills down by 13.
Here's the breakdown of the Eagles rushing committee today. Buckhalter 8 plays, 10 yards rushing. Westbrook 14 for 22, and Deuce Staley in for 12 plays, 2 rush yards. Buckhalter has the 1 touchdown, but again, McNabb is still the leading rusher on his team as he was coming into today.
Pat Williams says hello to Correll Buckhalter, all 315 pounds of Pat Williams. Loss of 1 on the play.
We haven't mentioned any of those big Buddhas inside today, Pat Williams or Sam Adams. And the fact is that they've been running wide on these guys most of the day. Hard to push those guys out of the way. The best way to run against those guys is what the Miami Dolphins did, is to counter block them, to block down on them so you don't have to move them. All you have to do is screen them.
Ricky Williams carried 42 times against the Bills on Sunday night. On 2nd and 11, McNabb to the outside, complete to Pinkston up at the 22-yard line. Gain of 5.
Well, we put up the rushing stats of the Eagles. I mean, they're not running the ball well from the running back position. And that's what the Bills wanted. They wanted to shut down the run. They said, we don't think McNabb can beat us. We're going to take the running game away, and if he beats us, then we'll have to adjust to it. And right now, McNabb is beating this Bills team because when he's had to put the ball in his hands to throw it, he's done it today.
His biggest run, 25 yards during the opening drive. The Eagles drove 71 yards for a touchdown. They have to get to the 27 for a first down. And McNabb's pass was batted down by Takeo Spikes.
Well, that's one of those where he's patting the ball, patting the ball, patting the ball. He had Billy McMullen open on the crossing route. McMullen's going to come over here. He's going to be open right here. But Takeo Spikes, his job is to spy McNabb, but not just spy him in the running game. To be able to get his hands in the passing lane right there to take away McMullen, he did a great job of it.
Bryant up the first 3 and out for the Eagles today for their offense. Backpedaling to the 25, Antonio Brown. And Brown taken down at the 28 by the long snapper Mike Bartram. 53-yard punt by Dirk Johnson.
Eric Moulds right now is the story for the Buffalo Bills because they have not been able to get the ball to him today, nor did they get the ball to him last Sunday when he only had 2 catches. But the Eagles secondary in a one-on-one situation cannot cover him. The guys they have out there right now have not seen the play. Right now, Sheldon Brown is covering him up at the top, and they have a safety over the top. They're doubling him. That's why they just moved him into the slot.
Empty backfield from the 29. Movement, and the play blown dead.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 81, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Bobby Shaw, the guilty Buffalo Bill, as we check in once again with James Brown. JB.
Kenny and Brian take a look. San Francisco looking for its first score, 4th and goal. Pass intended for Jet Weaver, knocked down by Corey Chavis. That George O'Leary-led defense doing an outstanding job. It is still Minnesota 28-0 back to Kenny and Brian.
Well, that Vikings defense has been upgraded with Claiborne and Denard Walker and playing well.
And coordinator George O'Leary has done a terrific job. Pass complete to Moulds out at the 33-yard line for a gain of 8. Sheldon Brown made the tackle.
And really what the Buffalo Bills are now going to do is, since they're not running the football, they're going to spread the field right now and make the Eagles play coverage. 1, 2, 3 right here. Get a back out. They're going to put 4 to 5 players out every play right now and make the Eagles with that depleted secondary try to cover it.
Now 2nd down and 7. 3 wide receivers. Here comes the blitz. And Bledsoe putting it up there. Intended for the tight end, Mark Campbell. Late flag is thrown. Back around the feet of Drew Bledsoe.
I think that look from Drew kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Personal foul is against Buffalo.
Personal foul, shot clock, number 35, offense, going low on the lineman. After the distance, correction, 15-yard penalty, replay 2nd down.
And what a chop block is when a lineman is engaged in the defensive lineman, and while he's engaged, the back comes or another player comes and cuts him down at the legs. So that's a bad call because he's cutting him right there, and there's nobody blocking him. You're saying it's against Corey, that he cut Corey Simon, but Corey Simon wasn't being blocked on the play.
Line of scrimmage now the 18-yard line, second down and 22. Bledsoe steps up and throws complete. Out at the 33-yard line. 17-yard pass play from Bledsoe to Moles.
I'll tell you what, right now, if you're playing fantasy football and Eric Moles is your guy, you're going to start feeling pretty good about yourself, because now, really, Buffalo backed up. The chess match is on. You got to spread the ball, and then here's the option. Can the Eagles' defensive line beat the front five of the Bills, or do the Eagles have to blitz and not give any of these young secondary people any help?
Third down and 4. Bills have to get to the 39. Bledsoe lost the football. Question is, will it be ruled a forward pass or a fumble? Trey Teague on the recovery. Doesn't really matter because the Bills will punt
on third down
in any event.
Yeah.
Bills offense 7+ quarters without a touchdown.
Well, this is where the defensive coordinator, Jimmy Johnson, earns his paycheck, because all he did was make Drew bring that ball down one time, and there's Sheldon Brown on the blitz. That looks like Eagles football over the last couple of years when they've gone to the championship game.
Mormon's punt fielded at the 25 by Brian Westbrook. And he's met immediately downfield by Josh Stamer. Nice special teams tackle. Return of only 1. Eagles in control. Leading 13-0. The numbers on Donovan McNabb and the losses to Tampa Bay and New England. Completion percentage at just over 45. Today, Brian, up over 63.
Different performance, and like Andy Reid said, he said that with McNabb, he's our franchise guy. He's like Larry Bird. If he gets in a slump, he's going to have him just keep shooting the ball. Just shoot till you get hot and shoot to stay hot.
From the 26 on first down. Pass behind the intended receiver, James Thrash. Beginning Tuesday, baseball's postseason begins on Fox. Donovan McNabb, a Chicago native, and it will be the Cubs and the Giants in Game 1. Yankees and the Twins, Game 2 on Thursday night.
Twins return to the postseason. The Cubs been absent for a long time. How about the Florida Marlins and what they did to the Phillies last week, knocking them out of the postseason?
There's Westbrook up to the 28.
Brian Westbrook, the ball carrier.
So the Cubs and Braves, Game 1 on Fox on Tuesday night. Cubs' first postseason appearance since 1998. Now, according to the Eagles media guide, Brian, McNabb is both a Cubs and a White Sox fan.
You can't do that. I mean, that's like being a Mets and a Yankee fan in New York. Right now, this Bills crowd coming alive, sensing the need for a play from this defense, a defense that they've upgraded this offseason.
On 3rd and 8, McNabb complete, and Thrash broke free. Broke away from Nate Clements, who thought he had him wrapped up. Thrash gained 17 out to the 45-yard line.
Boy, McNabb stayed right in that pocket that time, didn't get flustered, and then the throw was, see, that's not enough for the first down, but Thrash was able to make the yards after the catch. And that's what this offense is all about, throwing the short pass and allowing the player in position to make yards after the catch.
On first down, penalty markers. This time it's against the Eagles. Only the 4th Eagles penalty this afternoon.
False start, 82 before the snap on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
L.J. Smith.
You know, every play, when you watch the Eagles offense, and it's working, it's clicking, there is substitutions on every single play. Now, that's not unusual in this league, but the Eagles substitute 2, 3, 4 guys at a time. And it's hard when you're trying to match up personnel. Do I leave my linebacker or running back? Do we get a mismatch? And that's what he's trying to do with all the substitutions.
The hand to Westbrook. And Westbrook takes it out to the 46-yard line. Gain of 6, brought down by a combination of Sam Adams and Royer Malloy.
They're looking down there, and Takeo Spikes is a great player that was just buried in Cincinnati for the first part of his career. He's wearing a visor today because he got poked in the eye, and it looks like the eye is bleeding. There's like blood coming out of it. It's very sore. He's lost the vision in one eye, and he's just trying to play with the visor to protect it today.
Carlos has not worn a visor since high school. From the 46, play action. Penalty marker. As McNabb's pass intended for Pinkston was a bit short.
McNabb's pass intended for Pinkston. Flag on the play.
It's in the secondary.
It's against the Bills. Greg Williams continues to just shake his head.
Hands to the face. 23. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's Pearson Prelo. Free safety.
Yeah, you know, that's the other thing, is that those penalties are automatic first downs. There's the play right there. Prelo a hand right to the receiver's face. They didn't miss that one.
So an automatic first down. Eagles on the Bills' 48-yard line. Buckhorter, first down and more. Gains 13 down to the Buffalo 45. His biggest run of the afternoon.
And running right behind the Pro Bowl right side of the Eagles. Behind Mayberry and Runyon right here. Mayberry does a good job of taking Ryan Denny inside, and then Buckhorter, he split that thing hard. That hole opened up fast. It closes fast, too, but he threw off Malloy on the tackle. Ran right through the arm tackle, Malloy.
Buckhorter, third season out of Nebraska. Missed all of last year. Deuce Staley in the backfield. 2 tight ends, Smith and Lewis. From the 35, it's Staley up the middle, running right in. Combination of Adams and Williams, and it's London Fletcher on the tackle.
John Runyon came into the meeting room last night to talk to us. And, you know, he has to turn sideways to get through the door because he blocks the frame of the door. And he's a guy that down the road wants to be a television analyst. So I said, well, how do you break this game down? What do you have to do today? He said, your offensive line. It is your offensive line. We need to run the ball 30 times. I guarantee we'll get the line of scrimmage and great things will happen. I mean, spoken like just a true genius.
Is that Frank Caliendo doing his impersonation of John Runyon? Pass caught by Pinkston. I like what Runyon told us at the end. He said, when I get my hands on a guy, I look for somewhere to put him.
To throw. Yeah, you know, it's like taking out the trash. You know, you get out there Sunday night, you have trash pickup on Monday, you get the trash and you put it in those big mitts of his and you just throw it out there on the curb. And they said that's the funnest part of the game. And, you know, and sometimes when you watch the Eagles, all they do is retreat and pass protection. And those guys never have any fun because most of the times all they ever do is look bad against athletes that run circles around.
Eagles are 7 for 11 on third down. They have to get to the Bills' 25. Freddie Mitchell on a nice tackle. Penalty marker. Dab's having some fun today, Brian.
Right, he said that's what you have to look for.
Holding. 51. Defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Third Bills penalty of this drive. This one on Takeo Spikes.
Again, defensive holding. Takeo Spikes right here on the tight end. I mean, that's just good football. I mean, he's allowed to put his hands on a player within a 5-yard territory. And if the tight end runs right into him right there, what else is he supposed to do?
Another automatic first down via penalty. From the Bills' 24. Play action. McNabb Did not find anyone and takes it down to the 15-yard line for a gain of 9.
And the Bills know, and they worked on this all week, on trying to contain McNabb. And one of the things they wanted to do is when this end comes up the field against Trey Thomas, to not get behind McNabb. When he gets behind him, he's not in a position to keep him out of this area here. McNabb feels it. Now the end is out of the picture. Coming too far upfield on the pass rush.
Second down at about a yard and a half. Buckhalter running into the pile.
Buckhalter, the ball carrier. Justin Bannon makes the tackle.
Well, do you think the folks back in Philadelphia have loosened their collars a bit watching this one?
Third down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody's on the bridges there, ready to make the leap. Actually, I think they're enjoying watching this one today.
Jermaine Mayberry shaken up. Eagles right guard replaced by Bobby Williams.
Eagles only dressed 7 offensive linemen today. Bobby Williams, one of those guys that backs up the guard and tackle position.
With the play clock winding down, McNabb forced to call timeout. 3.5 remaining third quarter. 3rd and 1 when we return.
Fox NFL Sundays, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 38, by one of the most explosive movies of all time, Scarface, on DVD September 30th, rated R, by Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. And by Nissan and your Nissan dealer.
Eagles lead the Bills 13-0. Crowd on their feet chanting defense as the Bills try and stop the Eagles on 3rd down and 1. Westbrook, the lone back. McNabb on the keeper, looks to have the first down.
And that's where that, when he came in with that tank top on yesterday, Kenny, you said, what position does he play again? That's where that 240-plus pounds come into handy.
Certainly ate his spinach during the offseason.
Well, you know, he's bigger than any linebacker they have, that's for sure. I mean, he came in and that, you know, he weighs the same as he had in the last couple of years, but he cut the body fat and the arms just kept getting bigger.
And we should point out it was a Denver Nuggets tank top. Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, yeah, that's his buddy from Syracuse, yeah.
McNabb, of course, played basketball for Jim Boeheim and was at the championship game in April.
Well, you know, and he went to school right down the road here at Syracuse, and it was raining the other day when we talked to him. He said, Syracuse weather. I like this stuff.
Yeah, but he played his games indoors at the Dome.
Yeah, but they practice out. You see it every day. The gray skies don't go away for about 5 months at a time.
Empty backfield on 1st and 10. Pass complete to Westbrook down to the 7-yard line. Antoine Whitfield made the stop as we head west once again to JB.
Hey, Kenny and Brian, by and large, a pretty good game today for the St. Louis Rams. And take a look here. Isaac Bruce on that reception there is now the franchise leader in career receiving yards at 9,790. He's already added to that, and they're ahead by 10. Kenny and Brian.
All right, JB, a lot of good ones there that have suited up for the Rams over the years.
In a couple of different cities.
Yeah.
2nd and 5. McNabb inside the 5, down at the 3.
McNabb on the keeper.
Remember, Greg Williams said that's where McNabb is most dangerous. In the red zone, when sometimes there's not a guy to account for him. You're covered, you're spread out, and then how do you handle him running the ball at that point?
No indication yet as to whether McNabb picked up a first down.
See, if you're playing man-to-man on the receivers, and McNabb sees that, he knows that those defensive backs are going to turn to run with the receivers, so you have guys with their backs to you. As soon as he spots that sometimes, he'll just go ahead and take off with it.
McNabb has led the Eagles in rushing in each of their first 2 games, over 50 yards per game. He has 45 on the ground so far today.
Well, you know, so far in his career, he's the all-time leading quarterback runner in the history of the league with just under 7 yards per average.
Leads not only quarterbacks, but everybody.
Yeah, the highest run per average back in the history of the game, 7 yards a run.
Today averaging 8.2. 3rd and 1. Eagles can pick up a first down without reaching the end zone. Ritchie and Staley are the backs. Staley shifting to the right. It's McNabb on the keeper. And the question is, where will the officials spot it?
Yeah. He just ran into 700 pounds of beef in there. You know, and Sam Adams and Pat Williams in the middle.
Got a run or a lean?
I don't.
Got a lean backwards.
Yeah, I don't know if he actually ran. You're right. Because those guys aren't moving. Did a good job of protecting the ball.
Like he was trying to force himself into a locked doorway.
And they didn't give it to him. It's a 4th down. The Eagles send out the field goal team.
And with a successful field goal, Akers will become the Eagles' all-time leader. This would be his 92nd successful field goal. 22-yard attempt. He's 2 for 2 today. So Paul McFadden is now the color analyst and director of development at his alma mater, Youngstown State, is now pushed down to number 2 on the Eagles' all-time list behind David Akers. Eagles now out to a 16-0 lead. Bill Parcells will lead the Cowboys up against the Jets coming up. Some of you will see the Broncos and the Lions in the second game of our Fox NFL doubleheader. Broncos and Jake Plummer 3-0 following their Monday night rout of the Raiders.
Boy, and Jake looked good in a Broncos uniform last week. Got off to a fast start, and then the speed of that defense just took it over.
Akers kicking off following his 3rd field goal, taken at the goal line by Antonio Brown. Brown upended shy of the 20.
Brown on the return.
So a struggling Bills offense will come back out.
Well, that's a great coverage. That's Sean Moray, another one of those free agents. Bounced around in NFL Europe a couple of years, comes down, and you know when things are going well.
Offside on the kicking team.
Oh.
Number 59, 5-yard penalty, free kick.
Justin Anna was offside.
Well, Buffalo's offense not only did it struggle last week against Miami, but has continued today. You see what they've done. I mean, just the missed field goals, the only opportunity they had to score all day. Otherwise, they've been beaten at the line of scrimmage and into the secondary with the depleted Eagles secondary. Minus Troy Vincent, Bobby Taylor, Brian Dawkins, against one of the premier pocket quarterbacks that this game has.
Remember, the Bills defense scored their only touchdown against Miami, so they are going on 8 full quarters once we complete the next 21 seconds. 8 full quarters without an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, you know, and I was talking to some people in Atlanta this week, and Peerless Price, who they desperately need in this offense right now, and along with Travis Henry, is unhappy in Atlanta. They haven't found a way to get him the ball. He can't figure out why they brought him down there. They don't design any plays for him to get deep like they did a year ago.
Along those same lines, do you think Hugh Douglas wishes he was back in Philadelphia?
I think he calls members of the Eagles every day and tells them how much he misses it.
This is Terrence McGee. Hurdles out across the 30. 24-yard return
Terrence McGee on the return
by the rookie out of Northwestern State in Louisiana.
Not a whole lot of difference from that performance against the Dolphins last week where Drew threw for under 100 yards. I mean, right now just 110. Again, getting beat by time of possession and 0 points. I mean, last week, as you mentioned, Nate Clements scored the only touchdown for these Bills.
They scored 69 points in their first 2 games, victories over New England and Jacksonville. Empty backfield as the Bills start from their own 30. Everybody out. And Bledsoe's pass was deflected by Corey Simon and then nearly picked off.
Bledsoe's pass deflected at the line of scrimmage.
I tell you, that's Sheldon Brown. That ball gets tipped here by Corey Simon right in the middle. Getting good push against the center and the guard. I tell you, when you're hungry and you want a turnover, you start diving for loose balls.
2nd and 10. Bledsoe to Moulds. After 38. Gain of 8.
Gain of 9 on the play.
Perhaps 9 on the play.
3rd down and 1.
Remember, McNabb was telling us about Molds when he was almost up for free agency. He was kind of had a big smile on his face thinking, hey, could we get a receiver like that in Philadelphia?
He said he told Molds, you should have been here. 3 quarters in the books. Bills have gone 8 quarters without an offensive touchdown. They trail the Eagles 16-0. Bills now 8 quarters without an offensive touchdown. And Brian, you were here back in 1999. Eagles last trip to Buffalo. Bills shut the Eagles out 26-0.
Yeah, and that's when a guy named Doug Peterson was still starting for the Eagles, and McNabb was the understudy at that time.
Andy Reid's first season, McNabb's rookie year. He started the last 7 games. Out of the shotgun. Bledsoe pump fakes and now airing it out, looking for the tight end, Mark Campbell. Michael Lewis on the coverage.
Michael Lewis right now in this secondary is the senior member in the second year. I mean, more starts than anybody else out there, and that was perfect coverage on the tight end. See, as long as he turns back to look for the ball, he can contact the offensive player. Mark Campbell, the tight end, got good protection that time. Drew put it up, but see, watch Lewis look back. When he looks back for the ball, he has him on his hip, and he kept him on the hip.
Bills, Brian, 3 possessions in the second half. 3 and out all 3 times. Westbrook from the 22. Down at the 31-yard line, 9-yard return following a 40-yard punt by Mormon. Well, it will be one of Donovan McNabb's favorite baseball teams. They play on the north side of Chicago, and they're in the playoffs, looking to win a series for the first time in 95 years. Cubs and Braves Tuesday on Fox. Yankees host the Twins in Game 2 on Fox on Thursday.
Maybe you should talk to that guy that is 100 years old, the oldest living member that's a former NFL player, about what that Cubs team was like.
And he is here today, Sam Dana, who was a college teammate of Lou Gehrig at Columbia.
He walks a lot better than a lot of these players will after today's game.
From the 31. McNabb complete. Gain of 4 out to the 35-yard line. What's going on, JB?
Hey, Kenny, Brian's got me watching a lot of tape now. Hey, Brian, take a look at Randy Moss on this one as he shifts gears. Take a look here. He actually shifts gears up, then downshifts, brings it in. 3rd touchdown reception of the day. 4 touchdown tosses for Farad. Moss, 8 catches, 172 yards, 3 touches, 35-0 over San Fran. Back to Kenny and Brian.
I tell you, he's downshifting like a European sports car. They're not missing Culpepper at all today. The leading quarterback in the league right now.
Buckhalter forced back by Schobel. I hope Farad does not give himself another concussion like he did back in '97 in that tie game between the Redskins and the Giants when he celebrated by ramming his head into the wall back of the end zone.
You don't think that people let him forget it? Just guys like you right there, Kenny. Another big 3rd down here for this Bills defense, where McNabb has been successful today.
3rd down and 6. Eagles 62%, 8 for 13 on 3rd down. Have to get to the 41. McNabb with time, and the pass is short. Intended for Freddie Mitchell. It actually hit Antoine Winfield, who was turned the other way. And now the Eagles will punt once again.
Well, that's one of those throws where you just kind of go, ugh. Put a little air under it, give Freddie Mitchell in the slot here a chance. And that looked like some holding.
I think that's what Donovan's thinking.
Well, yeah, but look, he's being double covered. There's a safety behind him, so you can't put any air on it.
Short punt. Takes a Bills bounce. And will be down at the 33-yard line. 32 yards on the punt from Dirk Johnson. So the Bills offense, 3 and outs here in the second half. They'll look to do something here in the 4th quarter. We told you it might rain.
Well, I don't know if that's rain, sleet, snow, but I know we're in Buffalo, and that's what you expect when you come up here. Lake weather, whatever they call that.
You were up here for what, one training camp back in '92?
Yeah, and I saw a lot of that kind of weather.
Out of the shotgun from the 33. Deflected, incomplete. Intended for Josh Reed.
And there's nothing worse for a quarterback trying to throw accurate balls when it's raining like this. Now, Bledsoe's been used to this playing his career at Washington State, then at New England, and now Buffalo. He's playing a lot of bad weather.
He's played it a lot worse than this.
Yeah, much worse.
Second and 10, 3 wide receivers from the 33-yard line. To the far side, Moulds. He made the catch at the Eagles' 45. 22 yards from Bledsoe to Moulds.
Well, I tell you, watch the Eagles' coverage here. First of all, they're all on the line of scrimmage. They're challenging the receivers. And that's what you got to do in this business. If you don't have Brian Dawkins and Bobby Taylor and Pro Bowl corners, you at least got to go challenge. And that's a great job by Moulds of getting the feet down.
From the shotgun from the 44. Inside handoff to Joe Burns. His best run of the day. Down to the Eagles' 37. Gain of 7 before he was finally tackled by Michael Lewis.
Buffalo goes with the hurry-up offense. Jimmy Johnson not allowed to do any substitution here. Time doesn't allow it. Keeps those young guys on the field.
Second and 3. Complete to Bobby Shaw. First down. Down to the Eagles' 22. 15 yards. Bills finally moving the football.
Yeah, and there's a lot of time, and you don't want to let Drew get comfortable if you're an Eagle player, but that's when he gets into a rhythm, he can be unstoppable.
Bills had only 5 first downs through 3 quarters. They have 2 on this drive. Pump fake. Throw to the end zone, intended for Moulds.
He had it, too. That ball, I think, went right through his hands. I think Sheldon Brown never got anything on it. I think the ball went right through Moulds' hands. Possibly deflected by Sheldon Brown.
Looks like he got a piece of it.
Just a finger on it.
The Eagles have been without Troy Vincent since the first half, out with a hamstring injury. Already minus Brian Dawkins and Bobby Taylor. 3 Pro Bowlers from a year ago. On second and 10, Bledsoe is about to be hit. Pass was deflected. N.D. Kalu and Corey Simon with the pressure on Drew Bledsoe.
Third down.
They've been able to get some pressure on Drew today with just the front 4. And that's always huge when Jimmy Johnson does not have to blitz and he can protect a little bit. There's just a front 4 rush that time. Nice little stunt there that time by N.D. Kalu and Simon. And, you know, you got to lean more on guys like Corey Simon. He was the 6th player in the draft a couple of years ago. He has unusual talent. Great speed and explosion.
Third down and 10. Here's Burns in the open field. And he picks up a first down. I don't think the Eagles were expecting the Bills to run that play, and Burns gains 13 yards to move the chains.
Well, it was one of those sucker punches. They were able to just shuttle it to him. Nothing more than a shovel pass, just kind of dipped it off to Joe Burns as they were all coming up the field after him. One of those kind of plays, things that slow down a rush.
Burns led Georgia Tech in rushing 3 times, getting an opportunity without Travis Henry. First and goal from the 8. Bledsoe, corner of the end zone, incomplete. Shaw, the intended receiver.
Remember what Moulds told us yesterday? He said that if you get open, Bledsoe will find you. That he has a great scan, being able to see sideline to sideline to find the open receiver. This is the toughest place to complete a pass because the end zone line is the finish line, so everything gets compressed.
Molds and Shaw split to the left. Shaw in the slot. And Reed split to the right. Second and goal. Pump fake. Throw. Caught. Campbell. And it looks like he was down at about the 1-yard line. Tight end Mark Campbell with his third reception. He gained 7, so the Bills now looking at 3rd and goal from the 1.
Well, they did a good job of picking up the inside blitz, and then Mark Campbell just snuck off behind that blitz and got into that open area. To the advantage of Bledsoe being 6'6" to just throw that ball over the middle rush.
3 tight ends. Gash and Burns in the backfield. Here's Burns. And he's stopped.
That stop forces Buffalo to get out of a running formation. Put the receivers back out there on the field. The Eagles counter right now, bringing their defensive backs out. Remember yesterday, Jimmy Johnson said he was most upset with his defense of giving up touchdown passes. They've given up 4 this year. They only gave up 11 all of last year.
4th and goal. Bledsoe to the end zone. Touchdown, Bobby Shaw. And the Bills will go for 2.
It's a good decision with 9 minutes to go. To go for 2 right now. Because then you can make it a 1-score game. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion. A little rollout here by Drew. Gets a little protection that time by Campbell. Well, just got inside the coverage of Rod Hood.
So the Bills, after Burns lost 2 yards on 3rd and goal, go for it on 4th down. So now the Bills will go for 2. After security takes care of an idiot that just ran out onto the football field.
Greg Williams probably hasn't seen that as a head coach. I thought some Eagle players were going to jump off the sidelines and go make the tackle. The fan deserved it.
I hope my daughter didn't hear me say the word idiot. I'll get reprimanded when I get home.
That's a bad word?
That's a bad word in her book. Daddy, you said a bad word. Bills going for 2. Bledsoe is looking for Molds. The pass behind him. So the Bills now need 2 scores.
Bledsoe's 2-point play.
Bills offense finally reaches the end zone after over 129 minutes.
Fox NFL Sundays brought to you by the next Ford F-150, built Ford tough. By Wachovia, together we can achieve uncommon things. By Subway, good so you don't always have to be. Subway, eat fresh. And by Radio, starring Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ed Harris in theaters October 24th, rated PG-13.
Some rain on the lens. Bills finally on the scoreboard. 11-play, 67-yard drive.
Well, I think it was a good decision by Buffalo to go for the 2 points there, because even if you kick the extra point, you still need 2 scores, and that's where they're at right now. They need 2 scores to win this football game.
Brian Westbrook, Sean Morey back deep for the Eagles. Kick taken at the 2-yard line by Westbrook. Westbrook still on his feet. Penalty marker. Westbrook into Bills territory. Still going. Finally down at the 26-yard line.
Thomas makes the tackle. Flag on the play.
72-yard return by Westbrook.
receiving team. Number 46 during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down for Philadelphia.
Quentin Michael
Timeout.
called for the hold. Negates the 72-yard return by Westbrook.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Wachovia. Together we can achieve uncommon things.
The Eagles are trying to replace Brian Mitchell in the kickoff return game. And here's the hole right here by Michael.
The handoff to Buckhalter on first down, and he is smothered. Aaron Schobel to Keo Spikes. No gain for Buckhalter.
Bledsoe wants another crack with the ball here. Important series for both teams. Clock is the enemy. Noise is a factor. Buffalo Bills defense practices in this every Friday, being able to get their signals out, make sure they're in the right positions, right landmarks.
McNabb rolling right. And the pass is caught by Todd Pinkston, his 6th catch of the day. Out at the 28-yard line, setting up 3rd down and 2. That music in practice, Brian, interspersed with chants of defense over the loudspeakers.
Yeah, Eminem with some defense behind it.
Never thought I'd hear that.
I had a headache.
This is what it sounded like at practice. That's what it sounded like Friday, and that's what it sounded like today on 3rd down with the crowd going wild, but there was a flag.
Well, it was a good shot by the Eagles to get it to the outside. Working on the 3rd corner, Kevin Thomas. Good job of finishing by Thomas against James Thrash.
So the Eagles will punt.
Shot clock. Number 69 offense. Cutting the defender low. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
The little Eminem, chance of defense. Brian, did you know that Eminem is the most downloaded musical artist?
No, I've never done that. I don't know how to download, but...
Oh, director Mike Pratt knows how to download.
Well, you got that little white thing, that iPod. It all goes inside there.
Johnson punting from his own 18. Good hang time. Antonio Brown at the 27. Brought down at the 32 after a 5-yard return. 45-yard punt. Bills scored on their last possession. What will they do here? 7.5 left.
Well, the changing face of an Eagles defense. An Eagles defense that last year gave up the 2nd fewest points in the league, and now you're looking at Clinton Hart and Roderick Hood and Michael Lewis, guys trying to slow down one of the great pocket quarterbacks in this league with a low momentum on his hand right now in Drew Bledsoe.
And you mentioned earlier Lewis with the most career starts of the secondary in the game. He started all of 7 career games. So the Bills trailing by 10 midway through the 4th. Bledsoe dumping it off. Joe Burns out of the backfield. First down. Out to the 43-yard line. 12-yard pass play from Bledsoe to Burns, who's picked up the pace here in the 2nd half. First 7 drives for the Bills, Brian. 4 punts, a missed field goal, a fumble, and halftime on their last drive, their only touchdown.
Always amazing how you can stumble through a game. You get to crunch time where you have to deliver, and suddenly you can move the football.
From the 43, Bledsoe to the air. On first down, he wanted to throw, but he's taken down. 3rd Eagles sack. Hollis Thomas with his first sack of the season, but the flag is against Philadelphia.
Holding, 54, defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Nate Wayne called for the hold, former Packer.
And he tried to settle down his young troops out there, and looked a little bit like that hold on Nate Wayne, what was happening to Buffalo's defense on the Eagles' touchdown drive, or one of their field goal drives.
Remember, the Eagles have never lost following their bye week under Andy Reid. 4-0 from the 48. Bledsoe was hit as he threw, and Campbell nearly came up with the catch.
This is what negated Hollis Thomas right here. His sack the play before was that play on Mark Campbell. That's hard to believe that that's a penalty. I mean, the same thing. And then Nate Wayne just made up for it with a great blitz.
Now 2nd and 10. Bills from their own 48, trailing by 10. Burns the lone back, 3 wide receivers. Bledsoe being chased, another flag. Under pressure from N.D. Kalu, who is slow to get up. And this one's against Buffalo.
Well, I'll tell you what the story is right here, Kenny. The Eagles' defensive line right now is winning this battle. They rush 4, and they get there. Whoa. That wasn't a call there, but that might be a fine.
Wow, nice Reese.
Yeah, right to the head of Bledsoe. I can't believe that they didn't throw the flag going to the head of Bledsoe.
I agree.
Right now, that front 4 is controlling things. What it allows them to do here is, you see what Bledsoe's done under pressure, is the Eagles are able to play with 2 safeties deep. It's allowing guys like Sheldon Brown to play right up here inside the receiver's face.
Bledsoe rolling right, and then throws left to the tight end, Campbell. And Campbell brought down at the 40. Nice tackle by Rod Hood, the free agent out of Auburn. Gain of only 3 yards on the play.
You know, and if you're a Bills fan right now, where is Eric Moulds? Where is the guy that got you to 8-8 last year, that been to the Pro Bowl? That the guy the Eagles were so worried about that they were going to change the whole structure of their defense and try to get Troy Vincent on it.
He has 6 catches today, but has not really been a factor.
No touchdowns the last couple of weeks.
4th down and 17. Bills have to get to the Eagles' 42. Bledsoe steps up and throws. There's Moulds. Penalty marker. Moulds does pick up enough for the first, but there is a flag.
Yeah, it'll be a hold against Sheldon Brown as Moulds was going down the field.
Penalty will be declined. Gain of 21 from Bledsoe to Moulds.
Well, here it is. I mean, Sheldon Brown gets his hands on him, and he's like, I'm not going to let him off. Remember, there's a 5-yard rule there where you're allowed to contact the player beyond 5 yards.
24, defense before the pass. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, 1st down.
I tell you, see Sheldon Brown, he's going to get right back up in the grill of Eric Moulds. Not going to back down from him.
Line of scrimmage now, the Philadelphia Eagles 39. 1st and 10 for Drew Bledsoe and the Bills. Bledsoe nearly intercepted by Hood after it deflected off the fingertips of Bobby Shaw. Shaw's had a couple glance off his fingertips today.
2nd down.
And they dropped a few last week as well. Eagles come with the blitz. Bills do a good job of picking it up. Joe Burns helps out. That ball was on the money, right to Shaw.
Just over 5 minutes remaining. Eagles led 16-0. Bills scored their touchdown here in the 4th quarter. From the 39, 2nd and 10. Bledsoe to the tight end, Campbell, and he's cut down beautifully by Rod Hood at the 34-yard line. Gain of 6, but still 4 yards shy of the marker.
And I tell you what's impressive about these young players in Philadelphia is their tackling skills. You just saw that last one from Hood, and what Lito Shepard and Brown have done is there haven't been many yards after the catch today from these guys.
Have to get to the 29 to move the chains. And they do. Nice catch this time by Shaw. As the Bills pick up the first down, a gain of 9 on the play with 4.5 remaining. From the 26. Bledsoe over the middle. The catch is made by Shaw at the Eagles' 9-yard line. A gain of 17.
Very good protection, you know. I mean, when Bledsoe has vision in front of him here, like he does. You know, he's 6'6". He's tall. He can see over the trees. You got a good look at Shaw right in the middle of the field.
First and goal from the 8-yard line. Bledsoe to Campbell. He dropped it. Incomplete.
Last week, Bledsoe and the Bills, they threw 2 interceptions in the end zone, left points on the board, trying to force it a little bit too much a week ago. They threw the halfback pass by Travis Henry, was intercepted. It is tough to design offense to get the ball in the field. That's where, if your quarterback can scramble, if you can find a way to run it against the blitzes and the things you see, it can be so much more valuable.
This the 10th play of the drive. Second and goal. Bledsoe looking end zone off the fingertips of Campbell. The throw a bit high, and Campbell could not come down with it. Bledsoe saying, "My fault," pointing to his chest.
Eric Moulds here on that route. He was just trying to clear it out that time for Campbell. Didn't really run a hard route, trying to catch his breath for the next play. Eric Moulds here running against Sheldon Brown. I mean, that's not a route that you're looking for to score.
Now third and goal. Dave Moore has replaced Campbell as the tight end. And the pass goes to Moore, the former Buccaneer. No signal yet.
Yeah, I don't think that ball ever crossed the goal line.
Well,
of course, the clock keeps running here. And the Eagles are trying to hold on, and you get the feeling that you can't stop Bledsoe right now.
it is now 4th and goal. Ball never crossed the plane.
Right. See that?
Fans reacting because they see that his helmet crossed the plane, but the ball did not.
Ball actually fell out of his hands and hit the ground.
You wonder if Greg Williams will challenge because Moore was so close.
I think you're better off just lining up and going from the 1-yard line than risking a timeout right now.
Although they get the stoppage of the clock.
You may actually get an incompletion right there, the way that ball came out of his hands.
Good point.
You're risking a timeout right now to challenge the play that...
Ruling on the field, the receiver was short of the goal line.
That ball's moving. That ball was never possessed by Dave Moore.
So this could backfire on the Bills
tremendously
if it is ruled an incompletion. Bills coaches up here in the booth next to us, checking it out on monitors. Les Steckel and some of the other Bills coaches who are not down on the sidelines.
Dave Moore trying to get that ball stretched across the goal line. That ball's out now. That's not a catch. Remember, if they didn't challenge this game, they were going to get the ball inside the 1-yard line with over 3 minutes to go.
So Bill Carollo taking a look at it. Bill's asking for the review to see whether or not Moore broke the plane of the goal line. This is the first time Greg Williams is challenged by a replay this season. We welcome those of you who have just been watching the Vikings rout over the 49ers. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger from Orchard Park, New York. Eagles lead the Bills 16-6. Greg Williams has challenged the last play. Tight end Dave Moore stopped just shy of the goal line. So referee Bill Carollo taking a look at the play to see whether or not the ball did cross the plane before Moore was ruled down.
Remember, the ball, it has to be indisputable evidence here. The ball has to really cross the goal line. It never does. It never gets there.
Fans reacting to another look up on the video board. If this is not ruled a touchdown, it will be 4th and goal for the Bills.
Of course, they'll go for it there. And then
Eagles led this game 16-0 after 3. Drew Bledsoe hit Bobby Shaw, 3-yard touchdown pass early in this 4th quarter. Donovan McNabb, terrific first half, Brian.
yeah, he came out strong. He said that he had to be me, and he was. And that's what we've been looking on highlight reels for the last 3 years with him. And the team responded to him. That was the big thing.
After reviewing the play, it's been determined the receiver caught, possessed the ball as he told the goal line. It came loose. While he recovered the ball, he was still short of the goal line. Therefore, play stands is called. 4th down. Buffalo is charged with a timeout.
Good call. Good call by Bill Carollo.
Yep.
So Moore did catch the ball, recovered his own fumble. It was ruled a catch, and he was down. So the Bills now facing 4th and goal from about the half-yard line.
Yeah, you know, and it hurts the strategy of the game right here because you lose the timeout when you lose the challenge. Timeouts left remaining, 2 apiece each team.
Brian, the Bills send in 3 tight ends, Moore, Campbell, and Neufeld. For those of you who have just joined us, Bills without their starting running back Travis Henry due to bruised ribs, did not suit up for the game today. Replaced by Joe Burns. So the Bills going for it on 4th and goal. Gash and Burns in the backfield. 2 tight ends. 3 tight ends. Neufeld shifting. Bledsoe on the keeper. Touchdown. Only the 5th career rushing touchdown for Bledsoe. Bills went for 2 following their last touchdown. But now, down by 4, they will kick the extra point.
Probably don't want your prize quarterback sneaking like that with only 2 quarterbacks on the roster. But with Joe Burns back there, they didn't take any chances.
Ryan Lindell for the point after. The Bills have pulled to within 3. 2:49 remaining. Andy Reid's Eagles led the game 16-0. It is now 16-13 Philadelphia with 2:49 remaining in the 4th quarter.
Well, I'll tell you this. You know, you look at this game right now, the Eagles defense does not want to get back out on the field because Bledsoe is going to carve them up. This game is going to be won or lost right now, I believe, by the Eagles offense. And what McNabb is able to do in this crunch time right now.
Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. And right now for a preview of the second half of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Let's head west once again to JB.
All right, guys, with the win already under his belt, it's a happy Bill Parcells returning to the Meadowlands as Dallas goes for its 2nd straight win, while Vinny Testaverde, who had the NFL's best home performance of the season against Miami, leads the Jets against the Cowboys. All of that coming up next in the second half of our doubleheader. The biggest stories are in the NFC, and the NFC is on Fox. Back to you guys.
Thanks, JB. Something to keep in mind, Brian, since John Harbaugh took over as the Eagles special teams coach in '98, there has never been a successful onside kick against Philadelphia.
And that's what Buffalo is lining up for right now. And the Eagles took a timeout here. They want to make sure that they review the strategy here as Buffalo gets ready. Now, I believe that Buffalo has still time to kick this ball off, use the timeouts and the 2-minute warning to possibly get the ball back for Bledsoe.
That's right. They can stop the clock 3 times.
I don't think they're forced to have to kick the onside kick.
So Andy Reid calling timeout. Eagles using their second timeout.
That Danny Smith there used to be the Eagles special teams coach back under Ray Rhodes. Not very good special teams in Philadelphia either when he was there.
But Eagles have turned it around, as I mentioned, under John Harbaugh.
Sure.
6 years, they have never allowed a successful onside kick.
Well, he was the special teams coach of the year last year.
And the brother, of course, of
Jim Harbaugh. The captain of comebacks. Now coaching with the Raiders.
Eagles still huddling. They lead by 3, 2:49 remaining. Looking for their first win of the year after losses to Tampa Bay and New England. Greg Williams and the Bills won their first 2, lost in Miami on Sunday.
A lot of strategy on this kickoff, isn't it?
Redskins now 3-1. They will take on the Eagles next Sunday. Patriots drop to 2-2. That's good news for the Bills.
Redskins looking much better this year with second-year quarterback Patrick Ramsey. They changed sides this time.
Ryan Lindell getting set.
No, they're just faking it. They're going to kick this ball off, and the Eagles have to adjust right now.
They do kick, and they will look to take advantage of those.
Oh, they got
2 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, and no time off the clock. They get the 2 timeouts, the 2-minute warning, and the Eagles backed up at the 20. It's the time when you want your franchise quarterback in Philadelphia to step up and ask him to make some plays right here.
Eagles have had the ball 4 times in the second half. They've gone 3 and out on 3 of their 4 possessions. The other a 14-play drive, culminating with a field goal. Donovan McNabb, 17 of 27, 158 yards in the air, 49 yards on the ground. Fans on their feet. Listen to this crowd. Westbrook out to the 32-yard line. Bills use their second timeout. Brian, it is the final game at the Vet. Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Phillies trailing the playoff-bound Braves 5-2.
Well, the Eagles' last game at the Vet was a loss in the NFC Championship game. That left the fans stunned.
Do I see a tear, Brian?
I like that place. And, you know, and I think a lot of the players did too.
And you were one of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, whether it was the rats or the leaky ceilings or, you know, the bad facilities, the small weight room, whatever it was small, and it was, you know, it was home. And anybody that's ever played there, Phillies or Eagles, I mean, you know, there was a camaraderie to that place.
Of course, I think back to the press elevator.
Well,
which we get
did you ever
stuck
get locked in that one?
We get stuck at least once per game.
I remember Reggie White in there on Wednesdays playing baseball with the ball of tape, you know, and then getting the monologue from Andre Waters and Seth Joyner and some of those guys.
Eagles still winless at Lincoln Financial Field, 0-2 in the preseason, 0-2 in the regular season.
Flag here during the...
There's no foul in the play. Second down.
.240 remaining. Coming up next, Cowboys at the Jets, Lions at the Broncos. Greg Williams going crazy on the Bills sideline. Second down and 7. Bills have 1 timeout remaining. McNabb to Pinkston. Incomplete. Clock stops. That benefits Buffalo. Now 2:34.
That's one of those passes by McNabb down low into the dirt where if you get it up to the chest of Pinkston, you got a chance to do something with it afterwards. Stops the clock, favors the Bills there. Now they were practicing with this kind of noise on Friday in the stadium, and it's twice as loud as it was Friday.
On 3rd and 7. McNabb caught by Thrash. What a catch. What a catch out at the 37-yard line for a gain of 14.
And McNabb held on to that ball as long as he could, and the ball came out hot. Watch McNabb in the pocket here. Great protection. Trey Thomas at the bottom. Runyon stayed in there. Ball came out a little bit high, and Thrash went way up to get it. And the reaction of McNabb, nice job of uncovering by Thrash. And the reaction by McNabb. Yeah.
New center downs for the Eagles from their own 37. They keep it on the ground on 1st down. And the Bills stop the clock as Buckhalter is down after a gain of just 1. Bills use their final timeout with 2:19 remaining. They still have the 2-minute warning.
Andy Reid told us yesterday that McNabb has to have fun. He's got to enjoy himself out there, and I think he came out today with that kind of attitude. This is what he was like just at pregame today. When you don't see that from McNabb, there's usually trouble. And there he is talking to the old general manager of the Eagles, Tom Modrak. You know, a guy that was the general manager when Donovan McNabb was drafted in 1999.
But as Brown Childress, the offensive coordinator, told us yesterday, we drafted him as a franchise quarterback, and he has not disappointed. Drew Bledsoe hoping to get another shot. Tremendous job by McNabb on that opening drive as the Eagles scored a touchdown on their opening possession, got out to a 16-0 lead.
Brad Childress told us yesterday that when he came back to practice after the bye week, that he had just a gleam in his eye, a look in his eye, and he said that the recognition of his peers around the league, that's a big deal to him. And he talked to a lot of guys around the league, called his friends, teams on winning records, losing records. He talked to Antonio Freeman, and he was just asking about what things were like, you know, who's struggling, and just got a kind of a, you know, a big global picture of what was going on in the league.
Bills out of timeouts. 2nd down and 9. Westbrook, 1st down and more. Brian Westbrook will take it all the way. 62 yards.
And no flags. Everybody looking around. Is there a flag? No flags, Kenny.
First NFL touchdown for Westbrook.
Oh, and he's got his ball, too. And for the 2nd week in a row, Buffalo really beaten by the running game.
Akers adds the extra point. A 62-yard touchdown run. First touchdown of Brian Westbrook's National Football League career.
Well, right over Mayberry and Runyon there. Look at Runyon. Runyon down the field on Takeo spikes. Everybody trying to get involved here. Thrash trying to be a security blanket, and Envoy walking him into the end zone. And there was celebrations all the way down the field. But when you stay with the running game, you stay with it, you pound it, you believe in it. That's what Runyon was telling us yesterday, that good things are going to happen. And it doesn't matter who you play against.
Bills down by 10.
Well,
No timeouts remaining.
You talk about a 2-week period of time for these two teams. The Eagles right now with 179 yards rushing, and 2 weeks ago they looked like things had just completely wiped out in Philadelphia. And now they have life, and they got smiles on their faces. And 2 weeks ago the Bills were 2-0 and looked like the front runners to go grab the AFC East crown. And that's life in the NFL. That's how it turns week to week, and there are no indicators what a team is going to do. But if you take care of the football the way the Eagles did today, that's the first thing you got to do if you're going to turn things around in the league.
Eagles did not turn the ball over. They also scored 3 points off the Bills' only turnover. Here's Brown from the 5. Brings it back across the 25-yard line with just over 2 minutes remaining. Eagles will host the Redskins before heading on the road for 2.
Yeah, well, you know, who would have thought before the season that the Redskins would be 3-1 in first place, Eagles would be struggling but back in it, and suddenly that game next week at Lincoln Financial where they've struggled, you feel like the Eagles, if they play like this, error-free, McNabb comes out with a smile on his face and plays loose, and the defense, who might have lost another player today in Troy Vincent, if they can hang on against a very good passer in Patrick Ramsey.
All smiles on the Eagles sidelines. Cowboys and Jets coming up. Some of you will see the Lions and the Broncos. Justin Anna, the injured Eagle.
You know, Andy Reid came back, and he came back refreshed, visiting his sons out west, Garrett and Britt. But here's what Andy Reid was like at Glendale Community College in California. He was the kicker. Straight-on kicker like Fred Cox. I mean, how many kickers have you seen with the cast on their hand? Had a cast on the right hand. He was an offensive guard there at Glendale. You look at the black and white grainy pictures, you think that might have been a lot longer than 1978.
Some rare black and white footage. Bledsoe to Moulds as we hit the 2-minute warning here in Orchard Park. 21-yard pass play. Penalty marker. Hands to the face against the Eagles.
Illegal use of the hands. Hands to the face. 93. Defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play. First down.
Now the 2-minute warning. Eagles by 10. .157 left to play. Eagles leading the Bills by 10. A reminder, coming up next, second game of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Cowboys at the Jets. Lions visiting the Broncos. Tremendous job by our entire crew here in Orchard Park. Our producer, Pete Macheska, director, Michael Frank, associate director, Barry Landis, broadcast associate, Zach Fields, our technical producer, Dan Rotante. First and 10. Bills from their own 46. Bledsoe, penalty marker. Joe Burns down at the Eagles 43. Studio produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy, the associate director, Jennifer Love. Senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. Executive producers of Fox Sports, Ed Gordon and David Hill.
61, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Mike Pasillo, the right guard. Crunching the numbers for us today, Eric Morales and Ben Bowman in the booth. Rick Camps and Robbie Ince-Mikowski down in the truck.
Well, I tell you, it's a good day for the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles. A line that has lost 5 players from the start of preseason, and a chance to maybe get Brandon Whiting back and Jerome McDougal, a couple guys in the next couple of weeks should help fortify the ranks and make them even a little bit better up front.
From the 36 following the penalty on 1st and 20. Bledsoe firing, nearly picked off by Michael Lewis. And Brian, last but not least, we can't forget about our technical director, Chris Castro.
No. Chris enjoying himself up in Buffalo this week. I'm looking down there in the field at Clinton Hart of the Eagles. You know, a couple weeks ago, he was taking over the starting free safety spot for Brian Dawkins. Andy Reid couldn't remember his name. You know, I mean, yeah,
just like we forgot about Chris Castro.
Well, the thing about Clinton was he never played college football. I mean, he came out, he was a baseball player, and went and tried out for the Tallahassee team of the Arena 2 League. Played in Tampa Bay, and then went to NFL Europe. Next thing you know, 2 years later, he's starting here in the secondary against Drew Bledsoe.
So he didn't even play Arena football. He played in the Arena Football League 2.
Yeah, he wasn't good enough to play in the first league.
Yet here he is starting in the NFL for the team that went to the NFC title game.
Yeah, you know, they call him the natural because that's what he looks like. I mean, he looks natural, and he can run, and he can jump, and he can do all those things. But Jimmy Johnson said that a guy like this, look, every single play he learns because he's never seen any of this before. And, you know, in a game like today, where you got this comeback by Bledsoe, you're on the field, pressure every single down, Mold's on the field, and to come out, it's got to be a good feeling.
Pass caught by Shaw up at the 48, so it will be 4th and about 8. Well, the Bills, their next opponent, the Cincinnati Bengals, here at Ralph Wilson Stadium next Sunday.
But I don't think that Buffalo has to panic. I mean, you see that Bledsoe can still be sharp. They need Travis Henry back. They missed that running game, and 3 weeks from now, they're going to have Willis McGahee back. And that was thought to be the best player in the draft before the injury.
Bledsoe threw it away. It was 4th down. Could not find the one downfield, threw it out of bounds. Bills turned the ball over on downs, and they have no timeout.
Look at Bledsoe, yeah.
Did he forget it was 4th down?
That's just what he did. I mean, he just kind of threw his hands on his head going, I can't believe I just did that.
Wow. Just threw it out of bounds when he could have possibly run for the first down.
Look at him. He clearly forgot what down it was, and that's what he's saying to himself. We need Sam Gash to put the number of downs on his back and give it to him.
Wow.
Kind of been that kind of day for Buffalo, though, hasn't it? I mean, the first 7 drives, they didn't do anything. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he thinks it's another down. Well, what have I done?
Well, for Drew Bledsoe and the Bills, time to forget about this one and focus on the Bengals.
Well, you know what Bledsoe told us? Just ask him about McNabb struggling. On Friday, he told us that we all go through it. We all go through a slump, and you gotta block everything out. You gotta have confidence in yourself, and you gotta play your way through it. And the good ones play their way through it.
Redskins 3-1. Giants have a bye. Dallas will
take him out now.
Take on the Jets. Eagles their first win. McNabb 172 yards in the air, 48 on the ground as the Eagles will run out the clock. It's safe to listen to talk radio in Philadelphia this week.
Well, just for a week. The Dogs are off for a week.
Brian Westbrook put the finishing touches on the Eagles' victory with a 62-yard touchdown run. Greg Williams' Bills drop to 2-2. So the final score, the Eagles 23 and the Bills 13. For Brian Baldinger, Kenny Albert saying so long from Orchard Park. Coming up, game 2 of our Fox doubleheader. For more on today's game and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com, the official sports site of the internet. So long from Orchard Park, New York.